Yeah.
Are you ready to get physical? It's time to talk some piss and more. We're gonna talk about it all. DVD, CD, UHD, VHS, books, Blu-ray. Who knows, maybe you'll even see a laser disc today. Let's get physical. We wanna talk some physical media. Movies and TV, music and more. Come check out what we have in store. This is a media house dream. It's time for some physical media on FanZcene.
I know it was like really popular because it like won some Oscars and whatever, but
Jimmy does that.
It's got the Mighty Ducks guy. Got that guy.
No! Yes, but no! He's not the Mighty Ducks guy! It's Emilio Estevez! With a brand You can never have enough physical media. Emilio!
Hey, Ducks guy, I swear to God.
Emilio!
Charlie Sheen.
Emilio Estevez. Young Guns.
3. This time, they're in their 70s.
Not so young guns.
Not so young. Actually, I'm kind of interested to see what they do with that. I really
Me too. I have my ideas. I think I have an idea of what it's going to be.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
Here's my prediction for those who, like, just so you can say, yeah, Tom was right. My prediction is this. My quick prediction is that it's going to take some liberties. Yes, he's Billy the Kid, but he's old Billy the Kid. It's total made-up bullshit. But it's going to be him, Chavez, and maybe if they can pull like Kiefer and who else, I can't remember else they said they were talking
Christian
to.
Slater was supposed to be coming.
Yeah, Christian Slater was one of the ones mentioned. That's right.
Yeah.
And they're going to end up, there's going to be a group of young guns that need to be trained by some old guns.
If they pull it off, I mean,
that's going to be the basis. Mark my words.
Yeah. So the thing of it is, like, yes, I'm all for new original movies and stuff, but
they should call it Magnificent Guns.
Yeah, that would be
because it's kind of basically like Magnificent Seven meets Young Guns.
Meets Young Guns. Yeah. That's not a bad idea, actually. But no, like I was saying, I'm all for new original ideal movies. I'm all for that. But some of the ideals that Emilio Estevez had for the Mighty Ducks 4 and for Young Guns and for Maximum Overdrive sequel, it's like they hate money.
Well, let's be real. Part of this, I'm gonna be honest, this comes off as Emilio going, I need a fucking job.
That too.
And look, he did a great job of getting himself set up for years, and he did like a few little small directing gigs, and he didn't have to be Emilio Estevez, the movie star.
Mm-hmm.
But then all of a sudden you see this deal, especially it's right after the Mighty Ducks deal. So I think Emilio got used to the taste of money again. And so he's like, shit, because he lost this. And it's bullshit how they did him dirty on the Mighty Ducks. For those who don't know, he did a revival series. The first season was okay. Had some issues with it, but it's like, you know what? It's not that horrible. The second season, they fired him because he didn't want to get a vax. So ever since then, he's like, I've got sequel ideas to Young Guns. What was the other ones you mentioned? Basically all of his big films.
Mighty Ducks, Young Guns, and Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah. And then what's next? He'll probably be like, I got Repo Man 2 sitting right here, and fucking Men at Work 2 as well. And Chuck's up for it. So
yeah.
So that to me tells me motherfucker bought a house or something while he did Mighty Ducks, and now he's got to pay the rent. Or pay the mortgage, I mean. Or the loan.
Probably. He's got that taste, and he's like, I remember when I used to be famous. So
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He just made these little directed. He probably had a little nest egg to live off of for a while, but then all of a sudden he saw that, holy shit, you're paying me this much for the. You got to imagine with inflation, with the way the world works now, he got probably paid as much to do that show as he did all 3 of those movies put together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With the way, it just. Because he's like, oh shit, look at all this money I just made.
It's true. It tastes good again. I remember the
tastes
fame.
Good. Yeah. I can't go back now.
I can't go back. I don't want to be.
I got a taste of tiger blood.
Now I know why my brother Charlie was always.
Crack balls or
With that being
cocaine
said,
balls. That's what it was. Cocaine balls, the
Cookie
size
balls.
of golf balls or whatever it was he said he'd do.
Winning.
Winning. I'm by winning.
With that being said, let's say hi to the chat real quick, and we'll get back.
Let's. We bantered much too long. Hey, we got Sherry here. Hey, Sherry.
Yeah, we got Clark the Shark. I almost said
Clark the Shark. I like that name.
Yes, he's a big Jaws fan too. So,
ooh,
yes,
man of my own.
Matter
After
of
my
fact,
own heart.
he had the night you talked about the novel of part 4. How crazy you were talking about.
Yeah,
showed me he had the novel. He has the paperback of it still.
You almost have to as a Jaws fan. Like that's how you know a real Jaws fan.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he has it. I'm like, holy crap. But welcome, Collector Shark. Glad to have you with us. Ace Hanlon, LFG, let's go. Hell to you, Brian Barth. Hell to you, Tim Hayes. Glad to see you. Hell Dragonzilla, my good friend. Glad to see you out there as well. Awesome, you got Dirty Work and Golden Child. Good job. Dirty Work, I'm looking forward to getting. Hell to you, Rick Johnson. Glad to have you with us as well. Evening, Tyrell72. Live long and prosper. And then we have What's Up? Cowabunga dude, and then as Tom mentioned, the lovely Sherry. Hi, how are you? Glad to have you with us. And Random Brad Creator. Hello there, my good friend. And then we have Vinobite. Hello. Let's see, who else do we have here? We have Anthony Draven. Glad to see you with us as well too. And I think we are all caught up. There you go. Tell your friends, tell your family, shout it out that the Physical Media Show is on, and we're here to give you physical media. We're supposed to have a rookie show up with us tonight, but we'll see. But with that being said, Amelia's daughter has a new album from Sun and the Saint. It's legit. Amelia, hopefully Maximum Overdrive sequel, the world needs it.
Oh, I didn't know that his daughter was a singer.
I didn't know that either. But yeah. I would have liked his idea for the Maximum Overdrive sequel was pretty funny. I thought that would have been kind of cool. It was something about like now he is running a diner himself, and Guy Fieri was showing up to do like his diner drive-ins and dives thing, and then that's when all the things come alive again and stuff. I thought that would have been kind of funny. Who knows? But we got the standard edition of Dirty Work because don't you want the more dirtier cut? You got to get the more dirtier cut. I mean, it's there. It's available now.
Well, yeah, or I would say I don't think they have two different versions, do they? Or is there a Blu-ray version and a 4K version, maybe? But as far as I know, they both have both cuts.
I think
unless you have the old olive release or whatever it is, which I have too. But
yeah. Maybe it's the like the slipcover because you pay more for the slipcover if you get it without it.
Okay, so actually, Brian, I don't think what they did was I don't think we're getting the work print itself. If you check out the video, what they did is they used a work print so they knew how to re-edit the film and try to match the sound design and stuff like that Bob Saget had picked for the initial cut. So. Because for those who don't know, what we're talking about is Dirty Work is getting an extended cut that Bob Saget himself wanted to get out himself at some point if he could have, but sadly we lost him, a couple of years back. And now Vinegar Syndrome has painstakingly, as they always do, went to the extreme with this. Right? They could have just been like some of the other studios and just been like cheap bastards and threw the work print. Yeah, or even just like the TV cuts we see sometimes, you know what I mean, where they're just basically like a standard VHS style version of it. They could have just done that, just threw that old work print up there and been like, here you go, or just trim the scenes out of there that were extra. No. They had the negatives, so they had the good shots, they had the scenes. They just had to know how to edit them correctly and how to make the sound correct, right? So. There you go. And they did that. So we are getting pristine 4K versions of both the theatrical and extended cut of Dirty Work. So there you go. Bravo, Vinegar Syndrome. And they dropped that on us with a complete surprise.
Yeah. I think everybody guessed.
Golden Child was the first time I it wasn't even a guess. I had heard something, and then I think the Physical Media guy, or whatever you want to call him, he had said something too about that in another title. And I'm like, that is weird because normally a Vinegar Syndrome thing doesn't. We have never how many years have we been doing this?
This was like 3 or 4 years we've done this.
I've never once can I recall have we ever gotten a Vinegar Syndrome leak.
Yeah. Arrow leaks all the time.
All the time, like a fucking sieve.
Yeah. It's like Arrow's going to announce there's Friday, and then like that Wednesday or Thursday, like those disc people are already leaking what Arrow has. I've never seen Vinegar Syndromes ever.
Nothing. They mostly come by surprise. So Golden Child was kind of not a surprise because they've had a 4K scan of that for years. I don't know why they didn't release it when they did the re-release on Blu-ray, to be honest with you. But
thing presents.
Yeah. So thought I might have it nearby here, but I don't see it. I was going to show it off. But anyhow.
I'm back.
Oh, Lord, he's here.
Just when the show was doing good.
We were just finishing up and you finally showed up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why do you always show up just when we're done?
That was last week, okay? Now I did the reverse one, showing up toward the beginning, but not right away.
Okay, I'm just kidding. No, we're actually just about to get to rumors and updates. So Kino Lorber had a few announcements. We're getting Rustlin' Rhapsody with Tom Berenger, Sugar Hill. Shane, come back, Shane. Well, it's coming back to physical media in glorious 4K.
Yes.
One of the greatest Westerns of all time. You know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Shane!
And then that Patrick Swayze movie.
I saw that as a reference.
Oh, God. Jean-Claude has copied it with, what was it, Lionheart?
Yeah.
And so did, everybody's redone this. They've done their Shane.
Yeah, well, the Patrick Swayze movie that Vestron released, that's actually supposed to be like a sort of semi-remake of Shane.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember it either. Yeah. And then also, I did see, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of John Cryer in today's day and age much, but they are releasing his movie Hiding Out on 4K. I love that movie.
I don't know if I know that one very well.
It's where he's like a stockbroker. He's like in his early 20s.
Oh, okay. I kind of vaguely remember it now. Okay.
Yeah. He witnesses a murder, and they put him in witness protection program. And then he goes on, he shaves his beard and everything, goes back undercover as a high school student to hide out with his cousin, Keith Coogan. That
sounds somewhat familiar. Now, I've never thought of that movie in 30 years.
I can't believe it's getting a 4K from Kino.
There you go. Also, America 3000 is, and The Phantom, because the Phantom knows.
I love that movie too. I forgot. I was excited about that one as well.
Danger Diabolique, or Diabolic, however you say it, is also getting a 4K. Sands of Kalahari, sorry, not Sahara, is getting a Blu-ray. And Hiding Out, is, as you said, is also getting a 4K release. Battle Beyond the Stars is coming from Shout Factory. We may have mentioned that last week, but if we didn't, we did now. Spawn is also rumored to be hitting 4K as well. From Arrow. And let's see, what else was there? Way of the Gun is coming from Lionsgate. And what else was there? I believe...
I think that might be it. I think there was some pretty good releases come out this week. We actually had something to talk about.
Better Off Dead, we finally got a date for, I believe, which we knew was coming, but it's going to come in. That's coming out in August. And I think Sunset Boulevard just kind of dropped out of nowhere, didn't it?
Yeah.
Because that's also coming on August 5th for the 75th anniversary. I would say there was a few more studio announcements, but I think... I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think that's it. I don't think I saw much more than what you
Ron is getting a re-release. I saw that. I didn't see more of the details on it, but I do have the Lionsgate one of that one.
Yeah. Lionsgate was smart because like all those Lionsgate steelbooks were going to like Best Buy for like $20, and now they're selling them online as exclusives for like $30. So
well, I there's some more titles I wish they'd get to, but some of them have been a little lackluster, we'll say.
So Rick, this happens every time. He said he just bought Battle Beyond the Stars on Blue every time.
I did a while ago. Yeah, I got the steelbook.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to some of them. I agree. The Phantom is underrated. I love the Phantom. and somebody else mentioned this, and it's honestly, it's probably the only Alec Baldwin movie I really, truly, thoroughly enjoy from beginning to end, and that would be The Shadow. I would like The Shadow on, you know, a nice new Blu-ray. But hey, what can you do? he, with that being said, Rook, I don't even think you want to go first because you have one title, legitimately one title. So
I could like, you know, I guess I could do two, but like it's not like I watched it. Like I've put it on before, but I'll do. You know what? It's been a while since I've been here since the beginning of the show. I'll kick it off. Why not? You know, we get it out of the way.
are you
What a
serious?
rookie move.
What a rookie move. And
I'll
then
make
you're
it
going to sit there for the rest of the night and be quiet.
No, we'll see. We'll see. It depends. Some of those movies they brought on, I could talk about for sure. But no. So you guys know I go to Winco sometimes, grocery shopping. There's a $5 bin over there, and I was like, you know what? I'll peruse there sometimes, see if there's
Lord.
something there. And we all know our favorite Mighty Ducks guy. He was in it on the cover, so I was like, you know what? Why not? And
Emilio.
another man named Charles was there too. So like, okay, I got a little old man at work.
Oh,
And check
interesting. We
that
just
out.
mentioned that movie.
Oh, nice.
He
Yes.
did.
So you did a good job.
We actually
Yes.
talked about them earlier.
Like just a
Awesome.
few minutes before you got here. We just mentioned that. Yeah.
Interesting, ironic, good, very good. Yeah, I just literally finished watching it as well. That's even worse for the one pick. It's not like I just have one pick. I just finished watching the one pick that I have. So, yeah, cutting it close there, Tom, with your 10. Adorable. But yeah, it is hilarious. There's my favorite part that stuck out. He's like, "Oh, somebody threw out a perfectly good looking white boy or whatever. Perfectly good white boy." It's like, "Oh, looks like that guy. Oh shit." One of the cops is named Jeff as well. They don't say like Jeff.
My name's
No,
Jeff.
would have been kind of funny. A little bit extra there. That'd be hilarious. But no, funny little movie. It's not like super amazing, but I enjoyed it the whole time. The garbage men, I like their like, you know, day in the life of their garbage fooling around. Pretty much having fun with this job that nobody would want to do, of course, and they just careless throwing trash cans around. We don't have ones like those anymore, at least in my neighborhood, wherever they are. That makes more sense, I would think. And ours are like the bins with the lids and stuff. It's probably be way more annoying. But it's a good little thing. The guy's name Burger is the mayor. Burger. Good memorable names. It makes me think of the 90s with some of the names that they choose with there, and the pizza guy becomes part of the plot. It's like
was
it's
this
a fun.
90s or was this late 80s?
It says 1990 on here, so I don't know. It could be late 80s though, but I don't know. It says 19.
It was probably filmed in 89.
On the
It was
back.
probably
So I don't
filmed in 89 and released
It
in
could have been
90.
released in 90. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know that was good. Charlie Sheen. I've only seen a couple Charlie Sheen things here and there that are mostly spoof things for the most part. I've seen Charlie Sheen in. So this was
I
like
want to say this was 88 or 89. I think it was after Young Guns.
Yeah, it was 90, it says.
Yeah, I don't know. Box says 90 on the thing, so I don't know though. If
Oh,
was
then yeah,
released
it was
in
90
theaters
then.
prior. So
Yeah.
Yep. But no, it was good. Charlie Sheen. Yeah, I've mostly seen him do like spoof comedy, so I do think he's a pretty good actor in here so far. Which I mean is obvious.
actually
I mean, he's in
a
Young
good
Guns too, right?
Which is funny because Charlie has only done 2 spoof movies.
I know he's only done
That's the only things I've
There you
seen
go.
him
Hot
in,
Shots
yeah.
and Hot Shots Part 2. That's it.
I swear he's in like.
He hasn't even done that many comedies
I
otherwise.
swear but he's like been in other stuff. Like maybe not as the main, but he's been in things. Like he was in he's in one of the scary movies, I think, or in.
Yes. Oh, that says he is
He's
in.
in-
Oh, that's
some of
right.
those-
He was in like Scary
I've
Movie. You're right.
seen him in
I
like
forgot.
little bits and pieces where he's like a
I totally
comedic
spaced that
cameo,
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty much. So, and then 2.5 Men a little bit. I never watched the show really, but it was on sometimes on cable. You flip through and you're on it for a little bit. But yeah, no, it's a good movie. If I don't know if you guys brought it on and talked about it before in
No, we
depth,
have not.
but no,
And
it
when
was,
he
it was
talks,
fun.
he's
Just finished watching it.
He's not the comedian, though. I was just.
Okay. But no, they good little situation, little stalker sort of thing with Charlie Sheen's character, not stalker, but peeper. You call him Peeping Tom? Yeah. Do you know Tom? Do you know this man? No.
I plead the fifth.
Plead the fifth.
Yeah, it makes me think though, if it, like I would not want to live
Peeping
that
Tom.
apartment structure is just where you just total view of everyone could just look at you from around there if you have your window open, just full on eyes. The guy dancing with the blow up doll. Perfect living right
Just
there.
watch Rear Window, man.
Yeah, that's on my list. You know, my dad wants me to watch that as well. There's rarely movies that my dad wants me to watch, but he wants me to watch that one for sure. So
It's a good one.
be checking
Well,
that out. So not a bad return for the Rookster,
it's a
right?
good.
You know, I didn't pick some obscure film you guys haven't heard of before, so it's pretty good.
That is a good movie. I have not seen that in years, personally. Now I kind of want to see it again because it's been a while. I don't know what it is about Emilio Estevez tonight. He's like, the ears must be burning. No, but yeah, no, that is a pretty good. That's a pretty solid movie, Rook. I can't believe you actually. I can't believe you actually got one that's good.
Yeah, if I do come with surprises, this is what you get with me. You'll get something random, which could be really good or really weird or really horrible. You know, it's one of those threes.
Usually, it's really horrible with really bad takes.
Sometimes the bad takes is probably more that could be with any of them though. So it's like it doesn't matter which one of the three. You know, the bad takes could come here or there, but I like to prefer to call them spicy takes. You know?
I like to prefer them as shit takes. So
I wonder if the chat, do you remember everybody? Yeah, do you remember my old takes? What's your favorite worst take that I've had? It's been a while. It's been a couple months now, really, since I've.
I think
been
everybody
around.
really still hates your takes on Gremlins. I
Uh-huh.
think that's like the top be all. Like you
I don't
pissed
know.
them off. And they never
There's a couple
forgave you.
that people were like, "Hey, you." There's a couple of them. So maybe I'll need to make some more, but I don't intentionally make them. That's the point. They have to be genuine. So we'll see. Who knows what might set somebody off. Who knows?
Yeah, it's like I said. I think it's we who talk shit about Gremlins. We won't forget or forgive Rook. Your Gremlins take was absolute shit.
Thank you, Dragonzilla.
So, I think you really got them there, and then I think some of them remember your Beverly Hills Cop take too. They didn't quite.
Oh
like
yeah,
And then he
like
doubled down with Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah, like it was fine.
That is okay. It's all right.
It was all right.
I've seen like Rush Hour did it better. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you think Rush Hour got made?
Yep, exactly, and did it better. Yep.
No,
It's kind of like Bad Boys, but it was only one bad boy.
yeah. Oh.
Hey, the Mighty Ducks guy has helped us all remember Emilio Estevez even more. See, now because of that, and because of Tom really really saying it's Emilio Estevez. Like now Mighty Ducks guy is tied to Emilio Estevez. So now he can be remembered more.
Yeah, he also did not like Ghostbusters as well too. Peter Venkman's I remember. Yeah, and
You have some of the worst taste, man.
yeah, and he did like Superman.
I did not say Superman was bad, Dragonzilla. You're misremembering. I enjoyed those. I talked a lot on those ones. Good breakdown. Those were fun.
Yeah,
But
he
anyway-
knew better. He didn't need a hit out on his ass.
Yeah,
And I even liked the right version of the Superman 2. So there we go.
Carlos Estevez would have been better. Yeah.
Carlos
yeah.
Estevez. They're from Ohio, by the way. They're big Reds fans.
Ohio, Mexico, right? No.
Yeah.
The Breakfast Clubber's name. See, that's funny because I only watched the Breakfast Club for the first time like last year. So it's not as well known to me.
Okay, to be fair, we never did kind of tell Rook what an actual good response to what he should have said instead of the Mighty Ducks guy, right?
Yeah.
Here's acceptable response number 1. Oh, the Brat Pack guy. That's the Breakfast Club guy.
Yes.
The Young Guns guy, Billy the Kid. All of those are very exceptional answers. The Mighty Ducks guy is not one.
But when you're somebody born in the mid '90s, then the Mighty Ducks.
By the time he did the Mighty Ducks, he was Emilio.
Like the stick out guy.
Even that is acceptable.
Does that have a Blu-ray?
The second one did. I don't know about the first one.
Second one is horrible.
I know, right? Because that's the one with fucking Rosie O'Donnell in it. And it's got like 2 good scenes, I think, in the whole fucking movie.
Yeah. the Maximum Overdrive guy. Yeah. Yeah, like there's like I remember them talking about like we thought this was going to be like the biggest movie ever, and you watch it, it's like this movie sucks ass. And Rosie O'Donnell,
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
The first takeout is incredible, or I would even accept it the Repo Man guy. So yeah. But anyway,
Brian
But if you're
brings up
watching
a good-
Repo Man, you should already know the other stuff.
yeah.
Brian Barth brings up a good point though, that I brought on a Robert England, an England movie that nobody's seen anything in. So that's like a rarity. That's a gift to you.
Some piss poor Disney Channel fucking movie.
Yeah, it was like nobody had ever heard of.
That England was in, and you nerds had no idea.
It doesn't matter, but like,
so he was slumming it on Disney Channel.
He needed the money.
If you think of him as
Robert
Freddy
England got
Krueger
it.
in it, though, and he's just like a retired Freddy Krueger, like, yeah, I'm crazy now, then it's kind of funnier because he gets
It's
squirted
okay,
with
Ace. We just give Rookie shit. That's all.
Yeah, it's okay. And I think you're younger than Rookie anyway, so you have more of an excuse. So
Here's
true.
acceptable answer number 5. Oh, Martin Sheen's son?
yeah. You don't even know who Martin Sheen is, man. He has no idea who Martin Sheen is.
I've heard of Martin Sheen, but I can't think of a face, and I have
Abraham
no idea
Lincoln, Washington, Martin Sheen. Martin Sheen. That's John F. Kennedy, you idiot. Yeah, well, he played Kennedy once.
in what?
Oh my God, it's a whole bit from Goonies, and I should have done it in Corey Feldman voice.
I know Goonies, but like,
he's a joke in Goonies. I mean,
yeah,
that's like me saying I know Shane from Logan.
Shane.
That's like it.
Salute, Deleted Scenes. Glad to have you with us.
All right, that's enough of this. So was Men at Work a good movie, even though you were taken out of it by actual garbage men?
No. I liked it. It was really good, and I thought it was funny. And
yes, there was a time when actual garbage men had to get up off their ass and actually grab the garbage and throw it in your garbage.
They make it
My
look kind of
garbage man
fun.
still does that. My garbage man still does.
No, not ours. They got the excuse why, because they'll come up with those stupid machines and they won't get out and they'll fucking dump the whole fucking thing all over the side of the machine.
Some locations still have people just do it by hand. I don't think they can afford the machine. I have no idea, but some still do it by hand.
You mean do it by hand? You go out and you dump your trash into the garbage truck yourself?
No, the garbage men still pick up the trash and throw it in like Men at Work.
I'm surprised. I haven't seen that in any town in years, but of course, I think we use like the same 2 or 3 companies in like the Tri-County area. So.
Yeah, I would assume it'd be more the poor towns, but no, this was a funny one. I wasn't expecting like some of the run-on jokes to be like the pellet gun is like used throughout. I thought it was gonna be ditched at one point. It's like one of the most it's the useful tool throughout the entire movie, and then it's like save the one last shot. I feel like Jack Sparrow. It's like they're saving that one shot for the one thing and shoot him in the butt in the very end. And I was like, okay, nice. It's just one of those things that they would drop at one point and they didn't, and that was good use of it. The other guys doing pranks on them here and there. I thought there was going to be more back and forth, but I like that it wasn't, because they got their dead body problem. But funny how their stuff just we're just gonna do a little prank on this girl and then blow up her car on accident. Oh, we're gonna fill their thing with shit or something. I wonder, they don't say where they get the shit from though.
You don't need to know.
Exactly. But it's funny how they get covered in shit again. I imagine that's not fun to clean off. The black dude in this, he's funny. He's funny with it. Again, somebody threw out a perfectly good white boy. Hilarious. That had to be rolling. I don't know why.
They legit don't make movies like that anymore. Seriously, and it's for multiple reasons. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they do enough to get you into their daily life. They got their goals. They're best buds, but they're also like on the edge of like beating the shit out of each other, sort of a thing. They're kind of like, seems like they're best friends due to their situation. They're both
can I ask
not
you
moving forward.
Can I ask you something? You do know they're brothers, right?
The brothers?
You do know.
I guess I wasn't.
That was one of the acceptable answers.
Charlie Sheen and Emilio.
That's acceptable answer number 7.
In real life, they're brothers.
Oh, you mean Charlie Sheen's brother?
What?
Charlie
That
Sheen
was
and
acceptable
Emilio
answer
Estevez
number
are brothers.
7.
Emilio Sheen. That doesn't make any sense.
No,
It's not-
Estevez is their
Charlie
real last
Estevez
That's
name.
his real name. His name is like Carlos Estevez in real life, I think.
Yeah,
Charlie.
Martin Sheen is their dad. He was an
Yeah.
actor since way back in the 60s, I think he started.
Can't tell
Maybe
if
early
you know,
70s, I think.
Are you like for real that Emilio and Charlie Sheen or something?
Yes,
Yes.
totally fucking being
Pulling the-
serious. And that's why
pulling
they
the-
always end up in like each other's movies, like in the little jokes with like Loaded Weapon and
Well, yeah, but like Adam Sandler's in
shit like
movies
that.
with Rob Schneider all the time. I don't assume they're
Oh
brothers,
my
you
god.
know?
well, anyway.
and I don't
It's
know.
all
They don't
right.
look anything
We can
alike
forgive
if you
him.
ask me, so I
We
wouldn't
can
have
forgive
guessed.
him
But that is interesting lore.
for now.
That's a new one on me.
It's not. It's like pretty well-known knowledge, but
I mean, yeah. I mean, I had to ask because he was talking about how great their friendship was in this movie. It's like it's because they're legitimately brothers. That's why they're playing so well off of
does-
each other.
Okay, that's what. Okay, yeah, I was like, okay, I didn't know in the movie they weren't brothers though, right?
No,
Like,
not in the
they're
movie.
brothers.
honestly,
Not
I don't
really.
think they've ever actually played brothers in a movie.
Yeah, I don't think they ever have. Yeah.
Okay, but that does make more sense, I guess, with their camaraderie. That is funny. Now I'll know because that is a shock to me. I would not have guessed.
You really truly are a rookie. You truly are.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if I knew everything, then how fun would I be? You know.
That's true.
Are we done with this?
We can, you're ready,
See,
Tom?
even though it's one pick, look how long I made the one pick last. You know, that's the gift of the rookie critic here. You know, that you're welcome.
Doesn't matter how long it lasts if you got a little dick, dude.
I'm giving more memories for the chat to make fun of me with in the future. That is my gift to you.
Oh, oh,
I'm just being mean tonight. That was mean.
that would be.
That was mean. I'm sorry, Rook.
That's fine. If I brought on more movies, then I'm sure you'd take it back. So,
Maybe. That was just too
glad
good.
To see you with us.
I seen Rick in the chat.
I said
Rick
Rick,
sent me my first pick tonight.
and he also has Stakeout. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, does he? Oh, interesting. Good to know. Well, Emilio nor Charlie Sheen are in this movie, but a member of the Rat Pack, acceptable answer number 3, or 2, or whatever it was,
Yes, the
is
brat.
in this. This was a little movie that was shot in the late 80s, and it sat on a shelf for a while and just struggled finding distribution. It goes by 3 different names, but it is a interesting tidbit of film history. The movie in question technically has never had a Blu-ray release. I don't even know if it's had a DVD release, to be honest with you. But our good buddy has made this possible, and it is The Adventures of a Gnome Named Norm, or A Gnome Named Norm, or Upworld, as it's known in different parts of the world. And it has Anthony Michael Hall, the Brat Pack member in question. And it's about a gnome named Norm, if you didn't know that already, who comes to Earth to recharge a stone for his people. And he loses the stone. And he has to get help from bumbling wannabe, but he shouldn't be, undercover officer played by Anthony Michael Hall. And honestly, this is a fun film. The special effects in this are great. Rob Paulson does the voice of the gnome named Norm, who, if you don't know who he is otherwise, does the voice of Raphael, for instance, on the Ninja Turtle cartoon, and many other, and Yakko, or whatever it was, on Animaniacs. But Anthony Michael Hall is just very miscast in this movie. Very miscast. It needs to be like a Ryan Reynolds, Chris Pratt type. And at this time, I know why Anthony Michael Hall made this movie, because he was trying to reestablish himself as a leading man type, even though he never was going to be.
Yeah.
But at this point, he had kind of gone from being the kid to being the bully.
Mhm.
So now he was trying to be the goofball Mahoney type, and it just it doesn't work for him.
No.
Now, he plays the assholes pretty good. He plays the snot-nosed little brats real good.
Mm-hmm.
He plays, other than that, his best role is probably Tommy in the last couple of Halloween films, to be honest with you. I mean, otherwise he's Russ. That's my problem. Is he's Russ? Because
Yeah.
he's pretty much Russ in everything, up until he becomes the bully. So in like in Edward Scissorhands, for instance. So like, yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, but he's actually pretty good in the Dead Zone TV series.
That I can see. He's a
pretty
great
good.
dramatic actor.
Yeah.
Brilliant dramatic, but his comedy has one type of comedy that he can do well, the nerd guy.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, he's not the Mahoney type, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this requires, like a Steve Guttenberg, a Ryan Reynolds, a smartass Eddie Murphy kind of fast talker, like, because that's kind of what it needed, and he's not that. And it just kind of, he's trying too hard, and some of the jokes with him don't land. But the rest of the story works pretty good. You got Jerry Orbach in it. He's pretty good in it. I'm trying to remember the chick that's in it. I guess her name is Claudia Christian. But I remember seeing her in a couple things. But the movie barely came out in theaters from my recollection. Like I said, it sat on a shelf for the longest time, and I think it got, very little recognition on home video. I think it premiered on Cinemax, I think. Yeah. And that's where I saw it many a time.
Me too.
Over the years. But yeah, it'd been a few years since I'd seen it. It holds up okay. It looks like it's from a decent enough scan anyway, even though I don't know exactly the source of it. But you don't always ask those kind of questions.
You don't. Sometimes you just be happy that you got it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Johnny B. Good was pretty good. He was pretty good in Johnny B. Good. But once again, like you said, he was more like the serious type guy in it because he like played the jockey nerdy. Well, like he wasn't nerdy, but he was like, serious. He was playing football. But anyways, I remember this, and I remember this Norm, the gnome, being very horny for the chick in the movie. That's how I remember that, where he's
he
like,
likes her boobs,
grab her butt and her boob or something. Yeah. It's been a long time. Like I said, I haven't seen this movie since I was a kid. I do remember seeing it on Cinemax. I used to watch it multiple times on there, but it's been so many years. I didn't even know if people even remembered this movie, to be honest with you. It's like one of those weird movies you see late at night and then you think you dreamed it.
Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is with the Norm effects are amazing, right? It's directed by Stan Winston, who I'm sure you recognize the name. If not, he's the guy who designed, the Queen Alien, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, etc. The Terminator, Endoskeleton and all that kind of stuff. So this guy's done all sorts of stuff, and this is basically him just showing off what he can do. And I think this was shot before Ninja Turtles. So it's basically the same kind of technology, but it's a mixture between puppetry, animatronics. There's shots with, little people in outfits and stuff like that. It's a whole mix, and the way it's shot, and it's done so well. And what it shows is if you shoot these things the way that the special effects guys tell you to shoot them, these things will look real and good. And there's zero CGI in this. None. And not once do you see a wire. There's no wires involved. It's all either animatronics or a real person, a puppeteer doing, it's amazing how they pulled this off. I was even to the point where I'm sitting here trying to guess what is what in certain shots. Although I'm pretty good at calling that kind of stuff. That's the thing with this movie. If anything, you watch it just to appreciate the special effects and what Stan was able to pull off. And not just the character himself, but in the size of the character. Right. It's one thing to be able to do a character like this that's like 2-3 times the size, if not more, than what Norm is. But Norm is basically the size of a gremlin, right? And to be able to pull off those kind of animatronics in something so small was kind of amazing at that time. Because this is right around the same period we got like Little Shop of Horrors and stuff, which basically Audrey 2 is just a big version of the Ninja Turtles, right? If that makes sense. So, like, it was basically them figuring out, okay, we did it this way. How do we miniaturize that? And Stan kind of already did that before the Ninja Turtles did, ahead of Jim Henson kind of with this kind of stuff is basically what I'm saying. But no, it's a fun film. I don't know if you're going to have a chance to find it anywhere. I don't know if it's available on digital streaming anywhere. I'm imagining it's got to be somewheres. I did see it pop up a couple years back on, or like maybe last year or whatever it was, because that's what first reminded me of the movie. Was like it was on Pluto or one of those things. Yeah. But no, thanks to Rick for making it available to me on actual physical media.
I tell you, Rick has been a godsend, and I appreciate him very much. But yes, I have not seen that movie in years, man. Now I want to see it. I do want to see it.
You said it was called what? The Gnome?
The Adventures of a Gnome Named Norm. Sometimes it's called Upworld, UP World. because that's what he calls Earth is Upworld. Sometimes it's just called The Adventures of a Gnome Named. It just depends. You got to look it up. It's had like 3 different names.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's one of the movies like they film them and then they kind of sit around because the studios either something goes wrong with the studios or they're not sold on the movie, and then it comes out and it just kind of thuds.
I think they lost the original distributor or something like that, and then it eventually got picked up by, I can't remember who it was, but I think if this is correct, I think Lionsgate owns it now, but I'm not 100%. But they bought up a bunch of small catalogs and other things.
Yeah,
The covers that comes up looks like it's a buddy cop movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
With that, and then
because the other side of it is, I forgot to mention. Yeah, the other side of it is Anthony Michael Hall actually gets fired right away because he's on a sting that goes bad, and his only witness is Norm. So he's got to basically figure out who the killer is, who fucked up his undercover. Basically, he's got obviously somebody who was a mole and a killer that he's got to find, and yeah, he uses. And Norm's the only one who saw him. But Norm doesn't talk like a normal person, obviously. He talks a gnome.
Right. The next screenshot
Which is like a broken English, yeah.
Norm kissing this chick on the lips. Is Norm based off of any particular, just like gnome things or other creatures? Because it looks like
similar to the labyrinth, or not labyrinth, but it's kind of, he looks kind of similar to the whatchamacallit people in Dark Crystal, but other than that. Nah, he's just kind of basically based on what your basic kind of idea of what a gnome probably looks like, and Stan Winston putting his own spin on it to make it stylized.
Looking at it, looks like somebody took like somebody's face and pulled it out forward and then yanked the ears off.
Yeah, he's got like a horse jaw face thing going on, but the expressions and the way that and how they were able to make him move and look, it's for the time period, especially, like even for now. I mean, I don't know if we get away with showing a trailer.
You know that we got blocked when we showed that clip from PCU. The whole video got blocked.
Darn it.
I had to cut it out.
I was looking it up online. I was looking at it.
Do you want to chance it or no?
I would assume that this trailer you might get to play because nobody knows who owns it.
Yeah.
so
if you do have to cut it out, I apologize.
No worries.
But I think you almost have to see the trailer just to understand.
Yeah.
Anthony Michael Hall is an undercover cop.
Okay, I'm at point 0 right now. Still no sign of our man.
Who's about to go underground. What he doesn't know is that he's on a case that will take him to another world.
I'm in no mood for this.
Because now he's got a new partner.
What are you?
A very special partner.
What is the deal with the steak? Talk or I'm gonna eat it.
No eat, Lumen.
Who will either help him solve a murder case.
The explosion, so you did see it. Now, what did you see?
Kaboom!
Or destroy the underworld.
If Lumen died, my people die.
What is this? He wants a strong back.
Oh, the music might nail you here.
He is unusual, okay? He's got big ears.
It sounds like they remixed it, though.
Yeah, a little bit.
Kind of funny. Funny. What? Later, husband, grab the glasses, what?
He does it again. That's funny.
He's getting away. Why? Because I'm chained to a
They do show some of the best shit in the trailer.
Yeah, they do.
World crazy.
Freeze! Freeze!
He's right behind you. Turn around, he's right behind you.
Yeah, I remember.
He doesn't there.
Upworlders are mean, cold-blooded people, Norm. If they catch you, they'll put you in a cage like a lab rat.
What do we do with the freeze, sir?
Book him.
Who is he? What is he?
From special effects wizard Stan Winston, the man who created the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park, comes this outrageous adventure for children, starring
Good place to put that.
robot, and introducing a gnome named Norm.
Right, I'm gonna stake out with a gnome named Norm.
The gnome.
The Adventures of a Gnome Named Norm, Coming soon from Polygram Video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember.
Hologram picked it up.
I remember him being a little horny bastard. That's what I remember.
I love how they say for a movie for children, and right after they show some tits.
Yeah.
Great placement.
Everybody loves tits.
Who doesn't? I mean, everybody.
Yeah, I think it was shot in like 88, actually, and it didn't come out till like 1990, 91, somewhere in there, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it was shot in 89. I don't remember exactly, but
It's interesting because I think this is like a good example of like a lot of the shots you can tell it's like obviously like an animatronic thing, but it looks way better than if that was probably CGI or if it was like really bad CGI. That it looks
well. Not only that, what I
there.
told you, if you take into consideration the era, that's the big thing, right? Like I said, this is pre Ninja Turtles, right? In a way, even though it came out the same year, but because it was shot, I'm trying to look here and see when it was actually shot. So I'm pretty sure it was shot in like 88.
And it looks like he's in a lot of the movies. So it's not like they're.
Oh yeah, he's in quite a bit of the movie. And like I said, that's the one thing they don't show off a lot in the trailer is they show off a lot of the funnier scenes, but they don't show all the cool special effects the way because it's just seamless how they go from one to the other to the other. I can kind of tell, and you could probably tell nowadays, but back then, if you could imagine seeing that kind of special effects, I can't believe this movie wasn't bigger. That's what it was like. How did this movie get through everybody's, radar or get past everybody's radar? Yeah, it was actually filmed in 88. So yeah, I was right.
I think it's just one of them things where like the studio that made it, there's always something. And then when it came out, it just kind of was underwhelming at the point where it's like, I don't know. But I remember, like you said, I remember it just being a fun watch, and it's just weird enough. It's just weird enough from that era where it just holds your attention. So
I mean, if you're somebody who likes Gremlins, who likes Labyrinth, who loves anything Jim Henson-y kind of,
I was about to say, was this before? Forgive me for forgetting when it came out. Was this before or after E.T.?
Way after.
Oh, it's quite a few years after, but yeah, it has a little bit of E.T. in there, kind of, but it's not as schmaltzy.
Would you say that like visually, it like as far as the puppet, the
puppet
E.T.
kicks the shit out of that gloppy little shit.
I mean, it was Stan Winston. Come on,
like I mean, E.T. barely moves in comparison to this.
That's what I was kind of trying to compare it to, because like I don't like what I remember of E.T. was very stiff looking all the time, and like some of it's.
I kept noticing while I was watching it, I'm like, God, I forgot how good the effects were and how good they were. And this again, and I know why they look good, because I've heard a million special effects guys bitch about the same thing. They'll say, look, we made this thing because you told us you wanted it to do this specific thing. We'll tell you which angles you can shoot it from to make it look real. And those directors always ignore the special effects guys.
Yeah.
I feel like that's almost true even today. Like, at least even with CGI, like, hey, you got to film it this way or have them do this. And like, no, just
kind of maybe with the lighting and some other things. But in this case, you can tell it's because the way the movie's edited and the way the shots are put together, you could tell everything was so pre-planned down to the shot.
He's in the center of the frame for most of them, which is like filling up a big part of the screen, which means he's not always hiding behind something or always
not as much. Sometimes he is when he's a puppet, but you like that. You're exactly right, Rook. You will be surprised how much you see a full-fledged gnome named Norm running through the shot, or how they cut together different versions of him, whether it's a puppet, whether it's a guy in a suit, whether it's whatever. I mean, sometimes I think it may even be a little
kid. Enough
of
those, a couple of those, then when it is just like a half of them or just the head or whatever, then you can get away with it more because you see enough of the regular body. You kind of piece it together. I think that's kind of the same logic they even said for Jurassic Park with like the raptors, that like they use CGI in some of it, but they use like just like big old claws and then like fill out the rest and like do weird little things that kind of trick you into just picturing the thing. Without
and that's where Spielberg's one of the few guys who listens to guys like Stan Winston when he tells them to shoot it like this.
Yeah, that's cool.
See, because you're not wrong, because 90% of the raptors in Jurassic Park, until you see the full body raptors, are the animatronics by Stan Winston or just dudes with fucking raptor feet with claws that go click, click,
It's crazy
click.
to hear about because it just looks real the whole time. It's like, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, no, the only shots of the raptors that are like really CGI is when they first come in the door, the two of them, when they kind of cross over like this.
Yeah.
That's CGI, but otherwise, when you just see a raptor sitting in shot, just moving just a little bit, those are always just the animatronic ones. The only other scene that's major is like when they're climbing up the T-Rex skull and shit like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, a lot of those shots are just Stan Winston's puppets.
Yep.
Yeah,
Even the
good.
clever girl shot is just the Stan Winston puppet.
Yeah, because
I think that shot is probably the one that it looks the most like it's a puppet animatron. The where clever girl, the way.
Well,
it
not
comes
just
out,
that, but when it jumps on him, that's a puppet too. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole
but
thing.
they still sell it with editing and the reaction, the sounds, everything.
Yeah, but
everything
that's my
makes
point
that
is
work, which is good.
He built that specific puppet to do that one thing, that to jump at that actor, right? So like that's why they built like this whole big rig with a full-sized raptor that just literally jumped over the log at the actor, and they probably sped it up or shot it at a slow frame rate, so when it played it back at normal, 24 frames, it looked like the raptor was moving super fast, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
See, I wish that they would do that same mindset with CGI. Like, hey, keep in mind, we're going to have a CGI thing here, not just, we filmed this, something was wrong, and just CGI this here.
Well, and a good example is imagine Jaws if we had CGI.
Yeah,
the shark
well, we
being
can't.
in the
We don't need to imagine it. We've seen shitty shark movies that have CGI sharks.
Exactly, and that's what I've said a million times over. If Steven Spielberg had CGI back in 1975, he would not be Steven Spielberg today.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not kidding. He would have been just known as he'd have done because he'd been like a Corman director basically because Jaws would have just been the B movie just like every other movie. If you'd have saw the shark in the opening shot like he had planned and seen the shark every damn time he planned it.
Yeah,
I feel like nowadays there's going to be there's less Spielbergs because there's so much technology that you can kind of use easily. Now, I would say that it might also come from not as many people being passionate filmmakers because even with the technology we have and different advances, there should be like way more passionate people trying to utilize everything they can as to where now it seems like they just settle with whatever's easiest.
Well, and passion's what drove Spielberg because he's like, using Jaws again as an example, because he's like, look, I'm not gonna be able to shoot all this other stuff. So that means I'm gonna have to heighten everything else in this movie. So basically he flips the script and turns what is a monster versus man monster movie basically into a Hitchcock film. And I mean, if you think about it, it is exactly that. It's this guy facing constantly throughout the movie. He basically just said, okay, fuck it. I'm going to have to do, what's the one? Oh shit. I just forgot the name of it. Where he's afraid of falling. James Stewart's in it.
Vertigo.
Vertigo. Yeah. He's like, I'm just going to make Vertigo with a shark. Which he did, if you think about it, because the whole movie is the sharks, this ticking time bomb that everybody knows is there. Nobody has seen it directly. You always get little glimpses of it until he's sitting there going, why don't you come down here and shovel some of this shit? And then you finally get to actually see it, and you see Brody's face, and we're the audience going, you're going to need a bigger fucking boat. Because that's the moment the bomb finally goes off and the body parts are flying, and it's just one of those movies that it's so brilliant and perfect and timed perfectly and everything, but it was such a mess to be put together. To where if I think they don't make movies like that anymore.
If it wasn't for Jaws the way that it was, we might not have gotten Tremors either. I feel.
Oh hell no! All that stuff leading up through Jurassic, even Spielberg's own Jurassic Park, right? Well, the summer movie exists because of Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people give Star Wars and no. Jaws came out in 1975, and movies didn't usually come out in the summer. Like movies usually came out in the winter time. Like, there was a big deal when I think Godfather came out in March because they thought it was going to bomb. Because they had to delay it by like a couple months because they wanted it for Christmas of like 71 or whatever it was. And or 70 or whatever. And
Yeah. Excuse me.
I want to add more to it, but I feel like FanZcene's probably like, we're only on 2 picks and we're almost.
No.
There's not much because me and Greg are the only ones who've seen it. Greg probably hasn't seen it for 20, 30 years?
30 years, but the conversation we do have does sort of lead into my first pick.
Great.
Sweet.
So if you guys,
I was just going to say, now you can go.
Okay. Yeah. Speaking of like Tremors and Jaws and monster movies, this is one I have not seen in a long time. It's a bit newer one. And I got to say, I remember.
Debbie Does Dallas.
I wish. Eight-Legged Freaks with
I haven't seen that in forever. Holy shit. Talk about Gremlins.
Right? And it says right on the back, for Tremors and Gremlins.
Really?
Right on the back. Yes, if you've never seen this, I love it. It says like this is like an old school B-movie monster.
How's
movie
the CGI
like
hold up? I haven't seen it in like 25 years.
Well, that is one problem with some of the CGI does not hold up, but it is it's a 2K scan of the inner positive. So
They do have some
Oh,
good
this is a shit
spiders in there
factory?
from what I
Yeah,
remember.
it's Chip Factory. It's Chip Factory.
The one that gets them that goes into the bedroom and webs the two. That from what I remember, that's pretty good. I could be wrong, but I remember it being
that's
okay.
Scarlett Johansson, by the way.
It's a fun movie. I remember it's like
Yeah.
80 minutes long, and it's like right. It's not very long. It's real quick. Gets you in and out.
It's 99 minutes. It's
Oh, it's 99. For some reason, I thought it was shorter.
No, I thought it was too, but it holds your attention the whole movie. It's legitimately, and when I was rewatching it this time, it was made in like 2002, same year as Spider-Man. So there's like a Spider-Man joke in the movie, but what this movie feels like when I was watching this time was it felt like it was an 80s remake of a 50s sci-fi movie. You know what I mean? Like even the whole movie, you would not know this is the year 2000. You would almost feel like it's 80s or 90s as when you're watching it, if it wasn't for a mention of one cell phone near the end of the movie. But then again, it was one of them like really old, like brick style cell phones. No, but like this movie is incredible. It's it's set in a small town in Arizona, so called Prosperity. So, Rook, if you love Tremors, you would probably love this.
I've seen this, yeah.
Oh, you've seen this? I didn't know you've seen it.
That's why I was saying the scene
sounded
where
like
the
he did,
spider
yeah.
where the spider
Oh.
webs them. I remember
Yeah.
that visually being pretty good. I don't remember it being all like weird CGI.
I used to have the old ass
Seemed pretty
flipper, or
good.
not flipper, but a snapper case DVD, and I don't even
still
know what
have
the fuck
snapper
happened to it.
I still have the
Yeah.
snapper case DVD too. No, but go ahead.
I get it confused with another movie that like attacks Lone Star. like
Oh, you're thinking of Arachnophobia.
Yeah,
and it's
you're
not
thinking of
Lone Star.
Arachnophobia.
That's
Yeah,
that's
Bill
fucking
Pullman.
Jeff Daniels.
Or Jeff Daniels. Why did I say Bill Pullman? That Bill Pullman is Lone Star.
Bill
Jeff Daniels
Pullman is Lone Star, yes.
Yeah.
But I can see why, because they do look somewhat similar-ish. I can understand the confusion.
Yeah.
Okay, no, you're right. Okay.
They do have a similar
Thinking about it
timbre
now.
to their voice and similar facial features, so I can see
Mhm.
what you're.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. I just remember there being like a trend,
Which is funny because one of my next movies has Jeff Daniels in it.
That's funny.
I remember like there'd be a spider that's like screams at him,
Arachnophobia is a good film, but this is a different kind of movie than Arachnophobia.
Yeah.
Even though they are very similar in a lot of ways, like it's because they are both very because you have Arachnophobia, which is from the producers of Gremlins,
Mhm.
so it has that similar tone to Gremlins, the first Gremlins.
I thought one was parodying
This
the
has
other
a
or
similar tone to the second Gremlins, almost. Like,
Yeah, it does. Because that's what I did watch a little bit of the special features because it's produced by Dean Devlin and Roland Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich, yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say it was from the Independence guys, yeah.
Yeah. And they said they wanted to make an Arachnophobia type movie. And then they saw the short from this director from Australia and about a woman who fights these spiders who keep getting bigger and bigger in her house. So they hired him. And so basically all three of them directed this movie. Because that's basically what they say in this thing is like the guy they hired, he directed like the acting, Dean Devlin directed the comedy, and Roland Emmerich directed the action. And they just put it together. And so they wanted to do like a comedy, like action, like B movie.
That or it's a clever way of saying we had to fire the director, one of the two.
Well, the director's on there, and he seems like he speaks very like they all
okay,
work-
good. Okay, I was gonna say because other times they use that excuse as like, oh yeah, we had to do this and that. And it was great.
Yeah,
it was great.
what
We all
was-
worked together.
What it sounded like was like they hired somebody they could control. Like they wanted to make the movie, but they didn't want
That
to be the
makes sense,
director.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like we hired this guy, he'll direct what we don't want to direct, and we'll do the rest. So that's what it sounded like basically. And the guy
That
was
or
like, "I'm all for
it's
it."
either that or he got in over his head, one of the two. But
One of the two, yeah. But no, it's a fun movie. It's basically Scarlett Johansson is in this before she was famous, and so she has that.
She's
Though
in
I
Home
will-
Alone 3 and in this before she's famous.
I will admit the scene where she gets the spider web sprayed on her. Somebody was working out a bit of a kink with her on that, and she
I
was like
assume.
only 16 or 17 in this movie. So like, because she's in a towel, she just got out of the shower. The spider pins her against the wall, and just starts spraying white shit all over her face. So somebody was working out a bit of a kink. So,
And then her father walks in. Oh, it's such a huge mess.
is her mom. Because her mom, Carrie Were is great in this as her mom. She's like a single sheriff of the town. She has two kids. Her one kid is a smart kid. He hangs out with Tom Noonan, the Frankenstein from Monster Squad, who has these spiders. A barrel of toxic waste goes into the water. He feeds the spiders crickets from that water, and they become giant spiders and infest the town, and the town battles them off in the mall. That's and it's funny. David Arquette is, he comes back to the town. He had left the town. He comes back to the town because his family owns the mines, and there's rumors of a gold, and he wants to save the town. And that's like it's legitimately it's a B movie. It honestly feels like an '80s remake of a '50s movie. That's what it feels like. It's like one.
I keep on thinking it's based off of stuff, and it feels like it's homaging things, but
it's just an homage to those old '50s like sci-fi movies and stuff like that from that era. Like there is movies like Ants and with bees and spiders from that time.
Yeah.
Creatures and stuff. So yeah,
some of this really stop motion stuff.
Yeah, some of that stuff. Some of the CGI is a little wonky. I won't lie, it's early CGI, so it's a little wonky. But
it's like for it being like a comedy thing, I don't, and doing monsters as well. I feel like I don't know how budgets worked out back then to do it.
$33 million.
Like comedy action horror. So I don't know what they'd really expect from this. With giant spiders, especially especially if we're showing the spiders like outside of a building, crawling on it to sell the believability. But then I guess part of me is thinking you could use miniatures, but then are they moving around the right way? The right spiders? Can you even get them? I'm trying to think, like, how would Peter Jackson film the spiders?
What's Lord of the Rings?
Oh, no, he's actually talked about that. Never mind. He has talked about that. So never mind. Duh.
No, I mean, some of the spiders look great. Some of them look like they actually maybe filmed the spider and then like put it like old school trick of like they filmed like a tarantula and then they filmed
green screen or something.
Yeah, in front of green screen and then made it a big. And some of the like they do actually have animatronic spiders in the movie, and those do look good. But some of the, like when they get them all together at once, some of them don't hold up, but it's not too bad. Honestly, to be honest with you, I almost wanted to turn the saturation down and watch it in black and white because I'm a big black and white monster movie guy, and you guys
that would probably help with the special effects.
Yeah, so I almost wanted to do that, and I may have to do that eventually, where I have to turn down it and just watch it in black and white. No, but it is a really fun movie. It's got a great cast in it. It's just Dougie Doug is in this. I forgot that Dougie Doug is in this, and it's kind of funny because he's like plays the town radio guy, and like some of the stuff he says in it is like what's like the people on YouTube are doing today, So like he was like a pre-YouTuber type guy where he's like talking about UFOs and the government and what they're doing to us and all that stuff, sort of, like that. So, but yeah, it's a fun movie. It's Eight-Legged Freaks, Tim Hayes, Eight-Legged Freaks. It's a fun movie. I had a hankering to watch it. I'm glad I did. I remember really enjoying this movie when it first came out, and it's been a long time since I've seen it.
Surprised there's not more spider movies. They seem like a good type of thing for comedy, action, and horror in a way. Like you said, this is a good example of it. Like they can be either of them or all of them.
Yeah, I mean that's just basically what they were. There's a horror comedy action type flick, and it's got it's just a fun movie. There's tons of spider movies out there. You just got to find them. Most of them are old.
I mean, a lot of them are like cheapo.
Like one of the most famous was shot in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Which one?
The giant spider movie that I brought on here. In fact, you can buy the negative of it and the giant spider itself, and the rights to any remakes and sequels right now if you wanted to. It's up for sale.
Somebody should make that. We should put it together and like make our own.
If I had the money, but they like the opening bid is like I think $2 million or something like that.
What movie are you talking about?
The giant spider thingy. Oh, what the hell is it called? Oh,
you brought it on before.
It's Giant Spider Invasion. That's what it's called.
Spider Invasion.
Giant Spider Invasion. Do you recommend that one?
If you like those types of movies,
yeah, you have to like a certain kind of
you see, I guess I'm getting at like spiders are like they're very interesting in how they are, and like tarantulas are interesting as like
no, then this is not the movie for you.
Yeah.
If let's just want to see what a Volkswagen fitted out with a huge fucking puppet spider.
Yeah, I don't know. He's very iffy.
Robert Ebert liked this, so yeah. No, it's a fun movie, and
Bill Rebane made it, and he's a guy who made a bunch of movies in Wisconsin and stuff. So,
Oh
It
yeah,
was in
you
that
got
weird
that
Wisconsin pack.
Wisconsin pack, yeah, from the
Well, that
Hero
movie
Peanut or
actually isn't
whatever.
in that pack, even though that's like his most famous one. You had to buy that separately. I brought it on separately,
Mm-hmm.
but now they're selling the rights to it, which it just did get a 4K release. So you probably will have to wait a while until you can actually release it on 4K because it's probably stuck in like a couple year moratorium. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But I had not seen that in years, and it was fun watch. I think I may have to watch it again with the saturation turned down, make it black and white. I may have to do that. But like I said, did it come out the same year as Spider-Man? So they do make a Spider-Man joke in that movie. It's like the one guy's like, "Oh my god, what is that thing?" And he's like, "It's a spider, man." And he looks at this the screen. So, it's like,
You know.
so they knew. But I mean, that's what the charm of the movie. It does feel like a movie like Tremors, or it does feel like a movie like Gremlins. It does feel like one of those movies. And honestly, I don't think I've really felt a movie like that in a long time. I think this might be the last type of movie I felt like that had that sort of like Amblin monster B movie type thing to it. So yeah, it's a fun.
Not as many movies these days try to like homage the past. They try to like straight up copy and plagiarize and crap on it at the same time. Like,
Okay, I was wrong. It's well, unless they drop the bid, because its starting bid is $60,000 for the giant spider invasion negatives.
They couldn't even sell the shit.
Maybe I either remembered it wrong, but I just wanted to double check. So I'm like, maybe that was too much. I'm thinking that was too much.
What's up, Hannibal Grimm? And yes, I am literally the guy from the photo.
But just for here, share it if you want. So you can buy it from Julian's. The giant spider invasion. 75,000 to 95,000. What they're estimating it's going to go for. Starting bid is at 60. So you have to buy the negatives. What's left of the spider.
With the little wire framing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. That's something else completely. So that looks like
what year did that
cool
movie
crew jacket, though. I want that jacket. Look at that.
Gremlins 2. That looks cool, actually. Yeah.
That looks like for the first one. Yeah. Oh, it is Gremlins 2. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, I see the 2 now.
Yeah.
I want that. Fuck yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, Tom, you love those type of movies. I love these type of movies. It's a good one. It's just I had not seen it in a long time. I don't know if we'll ever get a 4K of it or anything. If it's a Warner Brothers movie, so I was surprised that Scream Factory put it out in the first place. So we'll see what happens with it in the future. But I'm glad to have that. I'm glad to, and like you, I wish I would have grabbed it. I still do have the flipper case, the old Warner Brothers flipper case of it. But for anybody who's never seen it, check out Eight-Legged Freaks. It's a great movie. It's a fun movie. So yeah. Well, enjoy your vacation, Hannibal Grimm. I'm glad it's going good for you so far. All right, so I got 2 picks left. Rook's got none.
I'll
Tom?
knock out a few here. Speaking of speaking of Jeff Daniels, and speaking of movies from early 2000s, I hadn't seen this one for a long time for some reason. I used to have the old Snapper Case DVD. Came out in 2002. It's one of the few Clint Eastwood movies I didn't have on Blu-ray, and I had it on sale on Groove, so I picked it up for $7.99, I think it was. Bloodwork, so it's due for a 4K release now.
Yeah.
Actually, this looks like it might be from a 4K master, but
Not
that
bad.
was typical
I
of Warner.
Watched that, brought it on not too long ago.
I was gonna say, I think you brought it on not too long ago yourself.
Yeah.
And it's decent. It's all right, but as I remember, it's way too predictable. That's the problem with the movie. It's just so super predictable. I figured it out the first time right away, and then I haven't seen it in 20 plus years. And again, I'm like, oh yeah, I already remember who the killer is. Because they make it so super obvious in a weird, dumb way. It's like, and because they should have red herringed it a little bit more. Because it was almost like they meant to, but like the stuff got cut out. Like it was almost like they were trying to red herring that it was Rodriguez's character.
Oh yeah,
you get my drift.
Yeah.
But it's like that got lost somewhere in the edit. Does that make sense? Because especially with all his Mexican shit that he comes flying at, and that the original 911 caller was Mexican sounding and all that kind of like, yeah. So there's like, yeah. So like there's little things like that. And again, this is one of those movies in that era of Clint Eastwood casting himself in movies where he's 3 times the age of his fucking leading lady.
Yeah, because she's that. I mean, he gets a good one in that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's believable that he would have a heart attack because motherfucker should have retired 30 years ago.
Yeah. This is like his. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just say that's the only thing that I have an issue with, other than it being too predictable. Otherwise, it's a pretty fun watch. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I remember. I remember having fun watching it. I hadn't seen it in a long time, but it's like his Seven, his movie, like he's trying to do in that vein. But like I said, like the problem I had with it was, besides it's too predictable, it plays by the numbers by the end of the movie. You know what I mean? You're not on your edge of the seat, like with when the reveal comes in 7, or when the reveal comes in even
because you figure it out yourself, which is kind of a like, I think Eastwood did it on purpose. He almost makes the movie too easy to figure out, because I think and it works to a point, to an extent, right? Especially if you only watch it once, though. See, that's the thing. It's a movie that doesn't stand up too well to rewatches, because the movie takes you along, and as the audience, you're always a step ahead of Clint Eastwood. So it makes you feel smarter than everybody else in the movie, which is a good gimmick. But you're right. It starts. The ending is where you got to flip the script on your audience. Then when you do that for the whole rest of the movie, right? So that's where it should have flipped a little bit more, and that's where I think a red herring would have played into it a little bit better, maybe. But like even just some of it just kind of feels like it's not tightened up like it should be enough. But no, it's a good film, and it does make those kind of mistakes. But I mean, overall, it's not one of Clint Eastwood's bad movies by far. So yeah.
No, it's still a good. I mean, like you said, the rewatchability on it, like is slim, but it's actually a really good fun. I always say fun, but a really good solid movie. It is a pretty good solid movie with Clint Eastwood. So I remember I liked it, and that's why I wanted to see it again. So yeah.
I always get this one. I used to get this one mixed up a lot with The Pledge with Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Which I think might be a better film, but I have it and I haven't watched it in years, so maybe I'll have to watch that for next week.
There you go.
But that's a quick one there.
Yeah.
I could probably do
another one. I mean, it is a good movie.
Let's see here. Where do we go from here?
Where do we go now? Where do we go?
Well, because I got a big chunk of them that I can do together. So I'm trying to bounce off of this one, but it's kind of hard to do that.
Do whatever you feel natural, man. It's all
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Do the one second from the bottom of the stack.
All right. Well, this is completely out of left field then. I got a hankering the other night because, as I told Greg before the show, my sleep pattern's been all sorts of fucked up lately. And I wanted to watch something that was a little possessed. So I watched Phantom of the Paradise. And I'm probably the only one who knows anything about this movie.
I'm trying to see what the image is.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I'm not positive because I do remember the Silver Mask. So
okay, it's Brian De Palma directed. Paul Williams is in it and does the music. And I know Rook has no idea who the fuck Paul Williams is.
No, he doesn't.
You seen Smokey and the Bandit, Rook?
What?
Have you ever seen Smokey and the Bandit?
No, I haven't seen that. No.
I'm trying to remember which Muppet movie he was in. I mean, he did the music for like 2 or 3 of them, but like, okay. Anyway, doesn't
be here all
matter.
Night.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. He ain't gonna figure it out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. William Finley's in it, and shit, what's her name? I just forgot her name. Jessica Harper's in it as well. And it's basically a modern retelling of the Phantom of the Opera in a musical form, not in any way, shape, or form associated with Andrew Lloyd Webber. In fact, if you ask me, this is the better one. Yeah, so basically, it's a little bit of Faust mixed in with it too. It's the music's Faust. Really good with Paul Williams. And this is back when, and as I said to you, Rick, before you go too crazy and buying any expensive ones like you do, check with me sometimes because I've been collecting for a while, so I might actually have some of those lesser known ones. But this is actually back when Shit Factory wasn't so shitty because you got the Blu-ray and a bonus DVD just chock full of extras.
Nice.
And yeah, even though it doesn't say it on the back, It's clearly a scan from the negative.
Mm-hmm.
It's an older scan, but it's still a pretty good looking one. But this was a movie I fell in love with on Cinemax. I caught it once the first time, and I'm just like, what in the fuck is this? Like, it is just the weirdest shit in the world. It is the most non-Brian De Palma film that he ever made. You wouldn't even know it was a Brian De Palma film. Like, it is insane in a weird way. It's a good pairing with like Rocky Horror Picture Show and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not so much a psychosexual film. It's just that it's this weird mid-70s kind of thing about it. And basically, like, Paul Williams plays like this Faustian character who makes a deal with the Phantom, who was a musician who he stole music from, who was in a tragic accident and lost his voice and has become horribly deformed. And of course, well, he only wants one person to sing his music, and it's only for Phoenix, and nobody can sing it but Phoenix, and anybody else who tries will die.
Yeah.
You know, and just like, you know, this typical Phantom of the Opera story. It's just really well done. The music's great. Gosh, what else can I say about it? The supporting cast is pretty good. There's some people you'll recognize from like other comedies and such.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's I don't know if you guys know it at all. Most people don't.
I vaguely remember something. I can't say I remember everything. I know I remember seeing the person with the mask, because I know the silver mask stands out a lot. I've seen that a lot. That's about as all I can honestly remember it. I'm sure I've seen something of it. I just can't, can't talk about it. Sadly,
it's called the Phantom of what?
The Paradise.
The Phantom of the Paradise. The original title was just going to be The Phantom, but then I think Universal tried suing them, even though Phantom of the Opera I think was in the public domain by that point, but they still were like, whatever. It clearly was semi-inspired by that version though, so they couldn't really get around that. Especially with the mask. 1974, 75 or something like that. It came out somewhere in that region, yeah.
Good night, John the Beagle Dad.
I don't know if you necessarily like it, Rook.
I have
you
no
seen
idea.
things like Rocky Horror Picture Show before?
No.
Okay, then you probably wouldn't know what it's really kind of. It's one of those movies like that pays homage to classic horror films. You know, like basically it's a great combo with like if you wanted to do with like Little Shop of Horrors, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and this. They all kind of like are movies that kind of are like feel like they're out of time and they're kind of paying homage to classic horror films in that sense.
Yeah.
But they're musicals at the same time. It's more like rock operas than musicals, but yeah, whatever you want to call them. But yeah.
I got you.
But yeah, but it's kind of like De Palma's lost film in a way.
It is very unusual for a De Palma film, so yeah. He
and
definitely...
Paul Williams is great in it. And of course, if you know who Paul Williams is, I'm like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's Paul Williams.
He's basically a human Muppet.
Paul
Williams. Yeah, he is.
He's a little dwarf dude, but he's a hell of a musician.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen this guy.
Yeah, you've probably seen him in shit.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know this guy. It's, I wouldn't have put a face to the name, but yeah, I've seen him.
Same thing with William Finley and stuff. Like I said, you'd recognize people in the film. It's one of those movies that people are just like, you're watching, you're going, what the fuck is this?
What is this movie? Yeah, I wish I could talk a little more about it. I
think you might think it's okay, Greg. I don't know. You would probably appreciate the homages it kind of pays to classic horror films and just kind of the story overall. I don't know necessarily if it'd be your kind of, because I don't even know if you're really into Rocky Horror or not. So like,
it's all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like a huge Rocky Horror fan, but
Yeah.
I don't hate the movie or anything. Like
you might, in some cases, you might actually like it better than Rocky Horror because it leaves out a lot of the psychosexual shit. It's just a straightforward Phantom of the Opera Faust story, basically.
Yeah.
About songwriters and a musician, and it's in that era of where transitioning between classic rock and Beatles type, British invasion music into, the album rock of the 70s kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds fun. And like I said, I think I've seen I think I've seen parts of it. I really do because I have this like in my memory. You know what I mean? It's like it's something there, but you can't quite unlock it in your mind. You know what I'm talking about? I'm sure you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. So
To answer Void's question, the 25 version, surprisingly, no, I don't think there is. I can't believe Kino hasn't done it yet because I think that's the public domain one, right? But the Universal
probably,
30s one is on 4K from, it's in one of the Monster collections, if I remember right. Either the first or second one, I can't remember which, but yeah.
Now I want to watch Phantom of the Mall.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. This story has been redone how many damn times? I mean, it's a basic story. It's the same basic story inside of the movie itself. So, I mean, if you know the story, you kind of get what it is. But it's just the way it's presented through the music. And like Swan's like this music producer. Like I said, he steals this guy's music. And he's just trying to put it to a band that it's also commenting on how the style of music was changing so fast that like in the beginning of the movie, it's sung by like a doo-wop 50s group. By the end, it's getting towards like, you know, the rock and roll era and into the hair, you know, like I said, the arena rock or not arena rock, but album rock and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Borderline disco even.
Yeah. Didn't you said what's it what am I thinking? You said Shout releases. Did somebody else release this not too long ago too? Was it Arrow maybe released another?
Not that I know of, unless they did it and I didn't see it.
I could sworn I seen one. Somebody else released this not too long ago.
Because I would love to see this get a 4K.
Let me see. Because I remember
this is an older Shout Factor. Like I said, this is probably from when even like Mike might have worked there, or not Mike, but one of the other guys I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, from the. No, you're right. Okay, that's you because that's my bad. It's you switched it around to its original artwork. So I remember seeing the new artwork on it. That's why I was thinking of.
Yeah,
I remember seeing the new artwork of it.
The new artwork's okay.
Yeah, but
the originals, that's what I remember from the video. So.
Yeah. What's up, Holophil? Glad to see you there. Yeah, that's why because I remember seeing that somewhere the fancy artwork there. Yeah. So.
I mean, when did they release it? This has been a while. It's due for another release.
Now that you've watched it, we'll get an announcement.
Oh, I've had this and I've watched it a few times. Yeah, this is a 2000. This is a 2000 and that's the special features. It's got to be.
Yeah.
Because they don't have an actual. For some reason, they don't have a manufactured date.
Oh, apparently, Disney owns it now, according to Tim Hayes.
Yeah, it's a Fox film. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, they'll probably be doing a live action remake one of these days, you know.
Honestly, I don't see Disney sitting on it, especially if Rocky Horror sells well for them.
Yeah, they'll probably release a 4K of that not long after or something.
Which I don't know if this was a 4K scan when they did it, but it's clearly from the negative. Because they pulled all the stops out on like this is an old school Shout Factory special. Like I couldn't even get through all the special features. Like I was watching special features for twice as long as I was watching the movie. And I'm like, okay, I can't get through all these because there's the old from 2002 DVD, and then there's a bunch of new stuff on there on the Blu-ray side of things, and then the DVD has all the old stuff carried over, and it doesn't have the movie on it. It's just chock full of special features. So like, yeah, it's just like there's a couple documentaries and a ton of interviews and other things, deleted scenes, the different title openings. Yeah.
I love a good special feature.
They even have, because they obviously, and this is how I know they did it from the negative, they even have the opening sequence where they show you all the different angles of the cameras that shot the opening sequence, the title sequence. So you have in one frame, you have the final edit with the titles over top of it. And then the other three cameras are showing you the three different angles they shot. So it's like, yeah, clearly, yeah. That's what I'm saying. This is what Shout Factory used to do.
Yeah, they used to have better.
And that's going to be important later.
Mm-hmm.
So should I throw another one in here quick?
I mean, if you want to, but I do
kind of one that's in this vein, and I watched right after it, and I hadn't seen in a long time either. Barbarella, Barbarella,
Jane Fonda, before she was an asshole.
Exactly. And it's not as much nudity in the movie as I thought there were from my memory either, because I've seen it on Cinemax probably like 20 times.
Yeah.
And you know, it's Barbarella.
Yeah. Put that one out.
This is an Arrow release, very nice release from Arrow.
It's a nice big chunky box.
Chunky box from Arrow. This was released around the same time as the Warriors. I just hadn't got around to it. And I put the old art, and of course it has some art cards inside as well, a 4K and a Blu-ray version of it with features on the Blu-ray. You get a pretty good package of extra features.
Oh, nice.
Pause it if I can get it to go. There you go. So those are want to watch and pause it quick. Of course, you get a poster. I think it's reversible, both arts, and then you get a book, which has tons of great photos and
fancy.
Yeah. And now, of course, you don't know what this is.
I know what it is,
but you do, and this is for those who forget. This is not only one of the first comic book adaptations, it's the first R-rated one, technically, even though it's not rated. But it was considered an adult film. But it got re-edited and re-released in 1977 after the success of Star Wars and rated PG, and subsequently on video, famously, they put the unrated cut on video, but it had the rated PG signal on the VHS tape. So believe you me, a lot of us kids got away with renting this movie when we shouldn't have, even though the problem with that was unfortunately, a lot of times if it was a chick who was running the store at that time, like, I know what this movie is, and you boys are not renting this movie. Yeah. You are not. I'm going to call your mother.
You're not allowed.
You get it up there with the right guy there. Oh, Barbarella. Hell yeah, you guys are in for a good night.
I miss those days.
Okay, so what is this movie about, Rook? It's based on a French comic book, and it's about a woman from Earth in the future, and basically everything is set up to where she can have sex.
Really?
Yeah. It's like a live-action heavy metal movie, basically.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
With a sprinkle of, go-go juice. Because everything's like 60s go-go. Yeah. You know? It is so pop and so... What's the word I'm looking for? Campy. Campy. Yes, it's very campy. Like, and it's so much fun. It's a fun film. It doesn't take itself seriously.
I've heard this referenced 1,000 times.
Oh God, yeah. You gotta like really understand what you're getting yourself into when you see it.
I think I saw a clip of like.
It is basically a female fantasy world.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Free love, man.
Yes, right on the cusp of hippie movement. It's based on a French comic. Famously, the comic was banned in a lot of countries because they saw this, which is funny because it wasn't even nearly as bad as a lot of the Tijuana Bibles and other things that were out there. Because a lot of the jokes were in the comic was like she would get covered up, and so like it wasn't as much nudity as you'd think, and the sex was always kind of. See, the thing with her is she's never had sex before. On Earth, where she comes from, you take a pill and you touch each other's hand, kind of like Demolition Man. So her first experience with sex is when she gets saved on this one planet by this hairy barbaric dude. And he's like, I want your body, for payment. She's like, okay. And she's like, well, you mean like the old school way? We haven't done that in thousands of generations.
10,000 years.
And of course she falls in love with it. And then of course every guy she meets from there on out is just another perfect guy that she can fuck.
Yeah. Once you teach them how to do it, they never stop.
But then turns out they're all gay because they don't want to have sex the old way.
That would have been funny if she landed on a planet of gay men. That would have been funny. Save that for the sequel, I guess.
And then it's like,
that's the sad part is we never got a sequel, right? This is a movie where the sequel probably would have been more remembered than the original, because for years they tried making a sequel. They even tried making a sequel with her daughter, right? Isn't Bridget her daughter, right? Or is it her niece? I can't remember now.
Bridget Fonda. I think there's her niece. No, it's what's his name? Her brother's daughter.
Okay. So it's her niece. Yeah. So they even tried making it with Bridget for a while.
Yeah.
And now more recently they got
Sydney Sweeney.
Sydney Sweeney signed up for it. If it happens, I'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Because even in the 90s, they tried making it again. I can't remember with which actress. But they have tried, I don't know, 18 dozen times. And every time they want to do this, they want to go to the extreme. Like, they want to go all out.
They don't know. Do you think they should, or do you think they should hold back a little?
Yes, no. Make this fucker as fucking almost as close to porno as in comedy as you can. Like, I want to see tits flying everywhere.
You see, I agree, but I feel like it depends on the director, because there can be good versions of that or really crappy, lame versions of that. If you know what I mean. Like,
no, there's a way you can do it. You got to see the movie. It's the way that it plays out, because it's actually a funnier film than probably a lot of people give it credit for, because of how just tongue-in-cheek and camp it is, right? And just how Barbarella reacts and acts to everything, right? She's not your typical. I wasn't
sure actually
woman.
if it was a real movie or like a porno or something. I was like, is that like a real movie?
No, it's not even that titillating, and that's the funny thing about it is it's actually, I mean, and it gets lumped in all sadly with like movies like Flesh Gordon and shit, which actually is not a fair comparison, because Flesh Gordon is basically a straight up softcore porn parody of Flash Gordon. The sex is almost secondary, and the nudity's almost not even as titillating as you'd think. It's kind of more of a campy, fun comedy aspect of it. But if you can amp that all up to 11, you've got like the ultimate fucking, like sex comedy / sci-fi, whatever the fuck. Like, I mean, it'd have been perfect for like, somebody brought up what's her face in Barbed Wire, Pamela. It'd have been a perfect movie for like Pamela Anderson back in the day too.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't in the running at some point to play a version of her.
Probably was.
Because they've tried again to get this movie off the ground to do either a sequel or a remake.
How come they haven't had a bunch of crappy remakes then? Because I
don't know. I really don't know what got in the way.
Made that are like, why was this made again?
Maybe Paramount gives that much of a shit about it that they don't want to fuck it up, or something gets in the way, or like I think this Sydney Sweeney version is possibly the closest we've ever gotten before where I think this may happen.
Yeah,
because it is almost like the perfect time for it, the perfect actress. Like, we need a movie like this.
Show herself at all. So.
Exactly, we need a movie like, and that was the thing is, Jane Fonda wasn't even that keen on doing that much nudity. She's not that nude in the film. Most of the time, she's covered up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even the director said, "Don't worry, the opening credits will cover all the important bits." Like,
yeah,
and he was right, because I think they even have the TV cut on here, or it's the PG cut. I think it is the PG cut, and you still see a couple of nipple slips. But
even if you don't show full on nudity, I feel like even like Austin Powers kind of, without showing full on nudity, made it seem like.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Was
Austin Powers took a lot of inspiration from this, especially when it comes to the women.
Covering up, like, oh, here's a banana, and that's covering up
sort of
here,
or
there's the coconuts or melons.
It's not as obvious in Barbarella, but a little bit. It's more in the comics that's in, but like Felicity Shagwell, I think one of her outfits is straight up out of Barbarella.
See, now that sounds like that's when you say they got inspiration, Shag, that's a Austin Powers thing, or is that just
her whole fucking ship is made of shag carpeting on the inside.
That's why that's her name.
We can't even show you shit from this movie, dude, because it's Paramount. And I'm afraid that they'll show too much.
I will check this movie out. It sounds.
And it has one of the greatest intro songs in the fucking world. I don't care what anybody says. It's so 60s.
It's a classic. What can
if
you
they
say?
remake it, it does not have the original song in it. I'm gonna throw shit at the theater. Chicken jockey. Fuck that.
They'll get some like stupid person to like rap it or something.
Oh God, no!
Horrible. You know how
it's got to be the original, because the original just feels right. It's got the perfect horns. It's that perfect kind of ding, 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 ding. Like Austin Powers. You can see Barbarella. It gets you right in the right mood and everything. You're like, I need a fucking martini and I just need a robe, just chilling. That's the horn section, Rook. You feel like you just walked into a supermarket in 1988. Barbarella. She did, yeah, and even the weird thing is even Jane Fonda had previously to that too, but she was trying to. This was on the cusp of her becoming Hannaway Jane and changing her image because she was known as the sex kitten before that, and that's kind of what got her to this point. Yeah,
yeah. Well, eventually, Cindy Sweeney will turn into like a prestigious actor. You know she will. They always do.
So this is from the 60s?
Yeah.
So this also had some inspiration from Star Wars, I assume.
No. This is pre-Star Wars.
Well, I know that's what I'm saying. It like helped inspire Star Wars. Like George
not
like,
as much as you'd think, but Star Wars, like I
good.
said, Star Wars brought it back into the limelight again. It got re-released famously in theaters.
Stuff, sci-fi, sort of.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it originally came out in 68. So then they released it with a PG version after Star Wars came out.
Who wants to see the PG version?
Yeah, I would just think with all the movies that they try to remake these days that there hasn't been, at least 6 attempts or something.
They've tried, like Tom said, they've been trying.
They've tried.
Never succeeded.
Like I said, they tried making sequels with her all the way up through the 90s, with original Jane Fonda, and then when they tried Bridget, and I can't remember the couple other women since then they've tried all throughout the aughts. Every couple of years it'll pop up. Yeah, like
that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised there aren't like a whole bunch of bad attempts to continue this, or like Barbarella 10 back to Kwanzaa something or something. It sounds like it would have done that. Or I guess did the comic? Was there more issues to the comic, or was that?
Oh fuck yes, very famous French comic. Yeah, in fact, I think they just started a new version of it a couple years back here, a U.S. version of it, I think. So like I remember it's Dark Horse or Imprint or somebody picked her up the rights.
If they got a comic series, then it seems like it should be pretty easy for them to make.
Well, she was initially a graphic novel, basically. Like I said, they had stories like the French. You had there was a bunch of French comic books that were pretty big around that era.
I was actually about to ask you about that because you said that. I was thinking, wasn't like a.
Valerian was based on one.
Yeah. There's a couple of those type of ones.
Element.
Yeah. Dynamite. That's it. Rick, I think you're right. Dynamite. Yep. It was Dynamite. Yep.
Comics, yeah.
And I don't think they got very risque in the Dynamite ones, but yeah, the original ones are pretty.
Yeah, they are French after all.
Yeah, but they have fun with it, like the movie did, right? Like that's my point. It's not like it's even borderline Skinamax, even like it's titillating, but not titillating. Like
right. I get you. And speaking of titillating, I do have a movie.
Let's go to that. Yeah, I was gonna say now it's time for you to do one.
It does go off the titillating aspect of what you're talking about. I mean, it's not in the leagues of Barbarella, but I did get this from MVD Rewind Collection. It's the Bikini Car Wash Company Part 1 and Part 2. Speaking of late night Skinamax titillating movies, I just recently got these. I show it comes the little poster and everything, so I'll show that off. Rook's just like, wow.
I'm like, what's the? I'm gonna ask the most important question. What's the plot?
The plot of the movie is it's a struggling car wash that needs to make money. How do you make money? You bring in these young co-eds and they get naked and wash cars.
You play dodgeball.
No, you wash cars naked.
You play dodgeball, duh.
No, this Part 1 and Part 2. These would be staples that you would have seen on.
I thought about picking that up.
I will tell you this because it's with the remasters here. Because both movies, it's all on one disc though here. Like both movies have been upconverted and remastered in HD from SD videotape masters, but they also have the original SD version as well on the disc. So you can watch either the up-converted version or the original version, either or, of both movies.
Fair enough.
So, I mean,
What they do with were they shot on video or did they lose the negatives?
I think they might have been shot on video. This was about the time of like the straight to video type,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
like
say.
Ron
Yeah.
Deschier, USA Up All
Yep.
Night, Gilbert Gottfried stuff.
That
you would
makes
see,
sense. Yeah.
right? So, which was made for that market. So these will be the best they ever look. So if you can handle that, you know, because it's got the black bars on the sides, not the top. You know, it's not made that way. But no, they're just those. Speaking of titillating, cheesy, campy movies, it's just a bunch of young girls who were not very good actors, who were more than likely playmates and all other kinds. They help a struggling car wash. They wash cars, basically their tops fall off, they get naked, all that. Second movie is a little more like some of the same girls return, and they run a big car wash now, but now they need money, and so they go for like a televised lingerie type sell. Once again, washing cars, lingerie, and they get naked. So that's the extent of both movies. So nobody's really watching these for the acting or the plots. So
maybe if they'd stop having so much sex, the cars would get some washing done on them.
Maybe. I mean, they make the car wash a success. They win. You know, they make it. Yes, they are 1-3-3-1. 1-3-3-1. Yes, that's how they are presented in this film. The upconverts don't actually look bad. They don't really look too bad. They're a little clearer than the SD. So I mean, it's not like it does much. It doesn't like damage the movie, but I mean, it really depends on your taste. So if you really want these movies and you're a fan of these movies from like Skinamax, USA Up All Night, and have fond memories of them, I'd say go ahead and watch them. They are some better than some of the ones that, I mean, yes, the girls get naked, yes, there's sex in the movie, but it's not like those ones where it's just like, oh, sex scene, something happened, sex scene, something happened, where it's like dry humping, looks stupid. You know what I mean? It actually has a semblance to a story. Jim Wynorski is in himself, the director. You know, I've had him on here. He's in the movie. He helped out with the movies. So, and he did, speaking of which, he does, Jim Wynorski does a audio commentary moderated by Serial at midnight. So if you guys, I haven't watched this channel in a long time, but
yeah.
So, but yeah, you I know this isn't Barbarella, but you got to speak in the titillated and late night Skinamax. I thought,
well, there's plenty of titties in that.
So I'd go into this one. So if you want to see a movie with plenty of titties and even bare bottoms, because they do take the bottoms off and like shower in the car wash, inside the car wash. Literally,
got Bush.
Yes, got
Bush.
Technically. One maybe. The rest of them are all pretty shaved. This was the 90s.
I was just gonna say, well, the 90s, not so much.
It was the 90s, so like one of them has a small,
maybe a landing strip. Yeah. Bring it in for a land.
I mean, if this was the 70s, I'd say yeah, you know, early 80s. But
ain't nothing wrong with no 70s Bush.
No, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I just, you know me, you know, I like that type of stuff. I thought I'd give it. It was cheap. It was cheap. So, you know, I can handle the 1-3-3-1 aspect ratio and stuff. And like the least, I mean, I wish they would have maybe.
It was probably shot that way anyway.
Yeah, it was shot that way. I mean, I wish they would have separated them on 2 discs, but they have all versions of the film on there with new special features for each one. So, but yeah, I like the MVD Rewind collection. Sometimes they give you funny stuff like that, and like the Cheerleader Wilds Weekend that I brought on not too long ago. But yeah, there you guys have it. I know, like I said, I'm not much of conversation there with the after Barbarella, but it is what it is. But I'm done. Yeah, I'm done. So, Rook, I know you said thought you could have one more, but you brought it on, but didn't watch it. So I don't know if we want to do that.
Well, no. I mean, I said I brought it on before, didn't like rewatch it recently, but you know, with there was recent Tremors stuff, you know, with
you brought on Tremors like 100 times.
Yeah,
well, this is like you're trying to pull a Scream on us here and make Tremors the new Scream or something. I'm vetoing
I
this
was
shit.
like, I don't need to bring it on, but
I'm
you know, if I were to give my thoughts on like Kevin Bacon making a new series, you know, geez, you know, I don't know. I don't trust that it would be.
I want to see that horrible pilot we never got to see.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. I think it would. I mean, it would be funny probably, but I don't think it'd be good. Not based on the looks of it. It looked very cringe.
And
Now
I'm
they're
thinking these were shot on video because I cannot even find a technical specs area on IMDb for this movie.
I would
Yeah,
assume they were. So it said
Oh
videotape.
wait. It's under. Oh, I got additional details, but I got nothing as far as if it was shot on film or anything. Not a fucking thing.
Said they're upconverted and remastered from the videotape master. So
Then that's probably what they were mastered in. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. They have not been able to get Tremors right since Tremors the series. That is a long time ago. Seriously, because
Well,
their
now
Tremors.
Well, most of the
original-
sequels suck. Let's be real. But
Yeah.
Well, okay, but it's like it's kind of like the early Marvel to the current Marvel, where it's like there's some bad ones. Like if Iron Man 2 or 3 is bad, it's not as bad as like Quantumania and Doctor Strange Mom and stuff. There's different levels here. Okay,
Yeah.
like those ones at least were like, oh, those gave it a shot. There's some things that were wrong, but they did what they could. They did okay. They weren't utter crap, or like destroy the characters that existed and whatnot. So yeah, you could get me close on a rant there if you wanted. But now, like the idea of the Kevin Bacon show or something or movie return to it. I mean, I like that he wants to do it, but I'm kind of annoyed because
Night Rick.
yep, later Rick. But I'm kind of annoyed with that thought because they were going to potentially have Fred Ward and Kevin return in the TV show, but never did. Kevin also never returned for the sequel, Tremors Aftershocks, but Fred Ward did. And I don't know. Do you guys remember why Kevin didn't? Was it that they couldn't afford him, or he didn't want to come back? I mean, Kevin probably got more famous at that
When
time.
he
Right?
made
Usually
Tremors, it was like I don't know how many bombs he had in a row at that point in time, and the first Tremors did bomb. It wasn't a huge hit or anything, so like he never really went back on it. That's why. And then like when they were sequeled them out, they just went this direct to video route. So you didn't get Kevin Bacon back for a direct video route, and so that's about the extent of I know. And it wasn't until years later when Kevin Bacon actually said he sat down and rewatched Tremors that he thought it was a really, really good movie. And then that's when they tried to make the TV series that never got picked up.
Yeah, I don't know. It just to me like that's neat that he went back and looked at it, but I feel like he wouldn't have the passion for it really either. Like that was
He already
big,
wants to
good,
come back
but
now that the original creators own the rights again. He wants to come back again. So
yeah, I don't know. I forget how many times that the creators got handed over or just got the really 5, 6, and 7 fucking awful. Like again, whatever you think of the other sequels, 5, 6, and 7 are utter
you never
shit.
know. Might see Kevin Bacon and Burt Gummer back in another movie.
That's the thing. Again, Burt Gummer's fine. He's like the main character of the whole show, but he should not have been the main character. He is a good, like ensemble character, like a good, he's the paranoid guy. That's he's right about a lot of things. He can solve some problems. Tremors 2 uses him perfect. He's not the main focus, but he comes in with the big guns. He comes in with the extra whammo to take on the graboids, overkill. That's what he's known for. He's the overkill guy. He's the masterpiece of self-destruction. He's got all the shit, but then he can still be caught off guard by these things, which is what makes him a fun character to see, but not really be the main character. I think he works as the main one in Tremors 3, I guess, but like I wouldn't expect him to be the continual main character. But they did. They latched onto that to have him be the main character. You do need
He's
kind of
the
like a
one that
Val
kept coming
Earl.
back.
You need a
Yeah,
Val
money.
Earl or somebody
He
like
kept giving
that
him money.
to be the main ones. But I know I could go on another Tremors rant, but I just wanted to do a brief commentary on the idea of there being a new
because they
show.
didn't have Fred Williams money by the third film, okay?
Yeah.
You what?
They didn't have Fred Williams type money by the time you get to part 3, okay?
Yeah. Which I still argue that 2 and 3 are okay sequels. They're nowhere near as good as the first.
That's about it.
Decent. Like what else? How much more can you do with it exactly? And then the fourth one's a good, prequel type of thing going beforehand. Pretty
It's
good.
all
You
right.
missed with the cannon. That's pretty funny. But then they go downhill as fuck from there.
Tremors.
Tremors. I mean, we've talked Tremors. I don't know how many times, but I get where you're coming from, Rook. And I know you wanted to talk about the new people, the original people getting the rights back, and another possible Tremors coming your way. We'll see how
I'd like to think it would be good, but I just see no sign that they'll actually do anything good with it. You know.
it really truly
If
depends.
it didn't have 12 sequels, I it would maybe be something, but
Well, if the sequels were good, if enough of them were good, I'd be a little more confident. Like even the TV show, as corny as it is, it has a lot of decent stuff. It sticks with, I would say, what made Tremors 1 pretty good. They won't match up to it necessarily, but they have a good concept with it, and they did some good episodes. But yeah, they didn't get renewed for another season, so they weren't able to continue. Their whole plan was to get Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward back to continue in that show. But I assume honestly them not coming back was part of why they didn't continue. But
and probably the ratings and how much the show.
Well, yeah,
cost.
the ratings too. Yeah, the whole a lot of people didn't even really know about the show, as far as I could tell. It was like a sci-fi at random episodes would air at random times, no order, and it was just like, oh, what? There's a Tremors thing? Okay, whatever. So anyway, next pick's
all right,
Thomasy.
Let's get to you, Thomasy, if you're ready.
Well, let's see here. Where do I go? Oh, kind of off that one. I hadn't seen this John Hughes movie in a while, but I remember seeing the trailer upteen bagillion times. It didn't hold up as well as I was hoping it would. I have the old Blu-ray still in packaging from Kino. I never opened. But I recently got the 4K of Career Opportunities with Frank Whaley and Jennifer Connelly. And yeah, Jennifer Connelly's great in it. And the movie's decent enough. It's an okay John Hughes movie, but it's not in his best category. But it's still good. I mean, it's
a fun watch.
It feels like a movie, like almost like somebody trying to be John Hughes, or John Hughes just a step away from straight to video. If it wasn't for the cast,
right?
It feels like somebody trying so hard to make a John Hughes movie, though, and it does succeed on certain levels. I mean, the problem with Frank Whaley is he's basically a Ferris Bueller ripoff in the movie. That's the problem.
But he's not cool like Ferris Bueller was.
Not exactly. I mean, he yes and no. And then Jennifer Connelly's great, but she's the typical perfect girl friend kind of thing that's slightly broken in every John Hughes movie. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm the exception because I know people love this movie so much. And I do remember liking it as a kid, all right, just fine. I mean, I've seen it dozens of times. I even have the soundtrack and all that business. But just this time watching it for some reason, I was just like, and it's only 83 fucking minutes long. But, I mean, it's good. It's just, it's probably like a step below Only the Lonely, which is, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, the John Candy cameo is good. That's probably the best part of the whole movie. Like the whole thing where they mistake him for somebody else. Yeah.
When she's riding on the horse.
There's been a bit of a misunderstanding.
Yeah, that was good. John Candy's cameo is good. I mean, I do like when she's riding the horse. I mean,
oh yeah, I mean, I liked it, but it's like, okay, there's shades of Home Alone even in this fucking movie. Like,
yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And some of it predates some of these other films, but it just almost feels like an undercooked meal. Like you're not quite there. It's like missing a few ingredients yet.
I can relate to that.
And I like Frank Whaley, but again, it's kind of like with Anthony Michael Hall and Gnome Named Norm. For some reason, I feel like he's miscast here, even though it's almost his perfect role in a weird way. But maybe it's because he is probably John Hughes' A, most unlikable lead, and B, his least defined. Does that make sense? And I'm not trying to beat this movie over the head, because the Blu-ray looks great. Kino did a good job. I think Universal did the scan, but
yeah.
I didn't notice any major anomalies or being overly. In fact, it has a great grade management in it. Could have even used a little bit more in certain shots, but I'm not going to complain because I got real grain in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's certain elements about it where I'm just like I didn't have as much fun this time with it as I remember it being. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old
Maybe you
boomer.
just weren't quite in the mood for it or something.
I don't know if that's it. I seen the potential there, and that's probably like this time I'm like, okay, I see where you're cooking certain things that you hadn't quite got there yet, where the seasoning's not quite right. But I see where you're trying to, and the other side of it is it feels too much like a Ferris Bueller ripoff.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ferris Bueller's got to get a job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was like my first exposure to Target ever. So
Really?
Yeah, because we never really had a Target up here where I'm at till like, I want to say like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that long. We've had one longer than that, but maybe it was like one of my first times I remember Target. I keep forgetting Target was even in the movie until they do the thing with the title.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh yeah, it's a shot at a Target or whatever. That's kind of what it feels like too. It's almost like his Roger Corman movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, I could shoot at this fucking Target overnight for a week or a couple of weeks. Okay, let me come up with a story that fits that. Like that's kind of what it feels like in a weird way.
I mean, I get where you're coming from because I haven't seen it in a while too. So, but I get where you come from, where it's like almost not a finished movie, like a finished story, I should say. It's a finished movie, but not like a finished story.
Yeah, it feels like it's missing some ingredient.
Yeah,
like none of the characters are quite well defined, like a John Hughes movie usually is. That's my point, I guess.
Yeah, I get where you come from. Like I said, though, I haven't seen it in a while myself. I know this is one of Kino's best sellers, actually. So I remember them saying that.
I know it's popular. That's what I'm saying. It's like I understand. I'm like kind of like, and I'm sad that like this time out, I'm like, yeah, this just didn't feel like it held up for me as much as I thought it would.
That happens sometimes, man. I remember liking movies so much when I was a kid, and then when I rewatched them as an adult, I'm like, why? Why did I like that movie?
It's still good. I'd still give it like a 6 or 7 out of 10, maybe, to be generous. But again, comparing it to other John Hughes films, it's near the bottom of the list.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Okay, I get you. I get it. All right, well, if you got anything else you want to say, or if you want to share another one, or
I can do another one, I guess. Or
I got one left.
So if you want to, well, I've got a bunch I can do together, and I got one. How about I do this? I'll do one more, then you do one, and then I got the final whammo.
Sounds good.
It's like a kick to the head.
Yeah.
If you get my drift.
Yeah.
All right. So I got this today. This came out yesterday. Lilo and Stitch on 4K. Not the new film, but the Rook should know a thing or two about this. I imagine you grew up with this one, Rook.
Yeah, definitely seen that.
All right.
Nice little movie.
Right.
Nice. Yeah, I even liked the show back in the day.
And speaking of that, I have the old Blu-ray that came as a 2-movie collection with the pilot episode for the TV show, basically. And the old DVD even from back in the day. Yeah.
Nice.
And I think most of the special features were carried over to this 4K, but now I'm pretty sure the Blu-ray that's in this is a new Blu-ray. I didn't check, but that's because as far as I know, this is the only version that came out before on Blu-ray. And this version is the unaltered cut, right? That doesn't have the washing machine or the dryer taken out of it.
Oh, this is what I'm kind of interested in.
This is the altered cut.
Yes. See, that's what worries me about some future physical media releases.
Now, this is kind of a strange animal when it comes to, because I mean, the cut is not that big of a deal. I mean, look, honestly, as a parent, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense not to have her in the dryer.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want that. But the problem is then they don't fix it through the rest of the movie. And through the rest of the movie, the dryer's right next to the washer.
It's a good time
to tell shot.
Kid, hey kid, you see how she's in the dryer? Don't go in the dryer. That's bad.
Well, it's kind of the whole point. If a kid, and most kids are smart enough, because Look, do I have to really break down the movie that simplified to where, like, most kids should know that everything that Lilo does in that first 20 minutes of the movie, you don't do?
Right.
Because she's basically a Stitch.
She punches the girl. She
Yeah.
she does a lot of mischief. So it's like
she's a Stitch.
Obviously.
She's exactly like Stitch. She literally licks it and almost bites her sister.
Yeah.
At one point, acting like a wild animal. And that's really what the movie's about, is this girl who gets an animal that's acting just like she is. So she gets a taste of her own fucking medicine, but learns how to be responsible in the meantime.
That's part of the drama, is that her acting up could get her taken away from her sister. So it's like that. I feel like
that's where Stitch is a blessing in disguise. He looks like he's the problem when the real problem is her, and
he helps chill her. He's more crazy than she is, so she's got to bring him in and kind of does that. It's so easy as a kid. That's what you understand. It's so like blatant.
And I love look. This movie is so adorable. It still holds up. Like as far as the movie goes, like the jokes still land. I'm watching this movie going, these are the guys who should be reviving Looney Tunes right now, because the jokes a minute that are in this movie, like I was chuckling at this movie a lot, and I haven't seen it in a while, but that's what I'm saying. Like there's so many just like little moments, and even you shouldn't play with guns. All the rest, there you go. Like the back and forth. That's literally like duck season, rabbit season, duck season. It's like, just all the little things that are in this movie, and it's a great, cute little story.
Bubbles' face when you looked at them. Like,
well, every character, every nuance, every bit of this movie, it could go schmaltzy, it could go too far in the cute, in the obvious. But it never does. It's clearly like got inspiration from all sorts of movies, from Critters to fucking E.T. to Gremlins to you name it. But it was a perfect movie at a perfect time, and the story's great. It's tons of fun. Laughs are abound. Great voice cast. Now the 4K, I can't say I noticed a huge leap from the Blu-ray to the 4K. And let me explain this. Now, when they made this movie, yes, it's hand-drawn animation, but and the backgrounds are watercolor paints.
I miss those days.
But they scanned it all into a computer, and the characters are painted by computer, and so it's all basically a digital master at the end of the day, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K is mainly in the color, like the colors pop a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
There's less artifacting than there is in Alasia or whatever, lasing or whatever it's called, where you get like the jagged lines around things. There's a little bit of it here and there in this 4K, very minimal in comparison. So like those are the things that go away. So that's an upgrade. It gets a Dolby Atmos soundtrack. I can't say that that's that much better. The old 5.1 was great. So I mean, on that front, whatever. But again, if you own the old Blu-ray, unless you are such a huge fan of this movie and you think you've got to have it on 4K, most people are not going to notice a difference, really.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so minimal. And just because the older Blu-ray just suffers from being that much older of a Blu-ray, that compression and all that stuff has been better since. Because that's the thing I noticed more than any problems with the picture. Because they didn't really do anything. There's no reason to do anything. It's a straight digital, file.
Mm-hmm.
So what I noticed was there's some digital blocking here and there if I got really fucking close on some quick movements on certain things, but just minor things, and mostly the alasing or whatever the hell it's called, the jagged line thing.
Yeah,
and that's a bigger problem on the Blu-ray, and obviously the old DVD has tons and tons of shit. Like they noise reduce the hell out of the old DVD for some reason.
Ooh.
So much that it's got like halos around everything for some reason. I don't know why they did, because it's sad, because I remember on old tube TVs that old Lilo and Stitch DVD was almost reference quality back in the day.
Yeah.
Watching it now, being a 25-year-old disc, you're like, yikes, even for a cartoon, this looks pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's some shots that didn't look so bad. I watched 5-10 minutes of it, and I jumped through just to see I knew that the dryer scene was in the old DVD, but I wasn't sure about the Blu-ray. So I double checked with that. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's in there. And then, so then I watched the 4K from beginning to end. So other than that, I didn't notice any changes or differences.
I feel like
So-
if you're to ask me, I feel like if they're doing the new version with the change in there, I feel like it would make sense for some of these to have the option to watch it with the edited version and the non-edited version.
Especially on the home video version, I agree, Rook. Like
That's what
you could have
that's
like
what
the
I'm-
family-friendly version and the original theatrical cut.
Like if you're gonna have your kid watch it and you're not in the room to explain anything, maybe I could.
Well,
see
there's another
maybe a
famous
concern,
bit that was
but-
cut out and changed, an alternate kind of ending to a point. Not exactly alternate ending, but it was changed because of 9/11. Because this movie came out right after 9/11, and so the final battle that happens on the where the two ships are chasing each other. It was originally supposed to happen in the town, and they go through a building.
Well, it's funny because it's funny you say that though, because I guess the space battle makes more sense for it being they're aliens anyway, and you're on Earth for most.
Well, no,
of the
it's
time.
not even on space.
Okay.
It's they just moved it to like between mountains and on a beach, right? Yeah. So like,
I'm
for instance,
remembering the chase, but I'm not.
This is near the end though, right? Right when Lilo is in the in what's his face, the shark dude. I can't remember his name. The big shark dude.
Oh
when she's got him, he thinks he's got Stitch, but Stitch got away, and then they're chasing him in the other ship.
Okay, right.
So in the original version, and I think it might have made its way into some trailers or something, but the original version's out there in like a rough version of it, where it's actually through the town, and like the guy with the ice cream cone who always gets his ice cream thing knocked off, instead of him sitting on the beach in the middle of nowhere like he is in the movie now, he's actually crosswalk. In the movie, because he's just standing in the beach in this version now, and I never really thought about it until like, oh yeah, that's right, they did. I forgot all about they changed that whole ending. So some folks were hoping that they would reinstate the original ending too. So they could have done that. They could have done like an OG version of it to where you had like, a couple different versions you could have watched. And this is a movie that has its fans like this, right? So
yeah.
But yeah, I understand. I agree with you, Rook, on that. Yeah,
it's me being silly. Like if George were to have a version where you can have a disc that play discs that play whichever edited versions instead of just get rid of the older versions or something. I think
this is a
options,
minimal one.
At the end of the day, having options is better. But you're right. This is like one of the smaller changes ever. I don't think anybody would really. Nobody's really going to go, you got rid of the dryer? That's integral to the whole... It's like, no, it's a very minor change. It's not the end of the world.
I get it. I agree with you guys on all that, but I do believe that, you give them an inch, they take a mile. But no, I mean, I get it. As with kids, I get it. You don't want them to see a kid in a dryer and everything and all that, but I do wish they would give you the option because... But Disney's known to do this. Like, we know Disney will do this with their new release.
It almost doesn't make sense, like I said, because she still does other things that you don't want a kid mimicking, right?
Oven, I'd be like, whoa, okay, an oven. That's a little...
But this was a problem for a while, although I think a lot of dryers now have made it to where you can
this was a problem?
Push them open from the... Yes, technically there was this problem back in the 80s and 90s where kids were getting shut in fucking... washers, dryers, and fucking
by their siblings, I would assume. Like not by
random things. Okay, like there was this one or two kids I remember got shut in a fridge and suffocated because they were playing like hide and seek or some shit.
I remember the fridge
that.
locking on them.
And they even did that in a very special episode of Punky Brewster, I think it was, or one of those shows where they had that exact thing happen. And then like there was another one where like a kid had gotten into a dryer or something like that, and the mother didn't know that the kid was in there. And turned it on.
I feel like it'd be very loud.
Well, and also if you got enough shit in there, it'll also cushion. And a human body is not going to make the same sound as like a shoe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just going to sound more like. I mean, yeah, you might notice a little bit of a shift in the sound or whatever, but if you're a busy person, you're not paying that. I can see where shit like that can happen. And there's also been I don't know how many dozen things with washers, especially with the spinner thing catching on something or catching a kid's arm. Or I remember, I don't know how many stories my mom and dad would always, I don't know how they're true they are. My grandma would always say it too, is don't get yourself too close there. That thing will rip your arm right off. Here's a start. It had to happen to him.
Yeah, I guess right out of their socket. I guess I've grown up in the era where everything's been like safeified already. So like,
that's the thing. Like back in in the 80s and stuff like that, like the parents, we talk about it all the time, and it's not like they were bad parents or anything. It's just like back in the day, day, parents didn't like hover around their kids at every moment of every day. Like that's why it happened. You know,
kids are prone to getting into trouble too. A little, they'll look if there's things
And
in the
we
house.
watched out for each other a little bit more. It seemed like back
Yeah.
then now too than they do now.
So like if a parent like the whole thing with it wasn't because like it was a bad parent or the kid was dumb. It's just sometimes that happened because they weren't necessarily taught or watched all the time. Nowadays, parents micromanage everything their kids do, and I will say some kids are a little smarter than some of the kids that were getting stuck.
Yeah, well, some of these were like the situation was like they were these old ass fucking big freezers and shit. Kids were jumping like I said, you know, just playing hide and seek or whatever, and they didn't realize that these things the way they would latch is you cannot get open it from the inside. They never thought, you know what I mean?
I was about to say nobody's expecting you to be in your refrigerator or to be in your dryer.
Well, not just that. It was like you had these old, I can't remember what they were made out of, but like not some metal. I can't remember, but like, you know, the old ass heavy fucking, you're probably way too young, Rook, and never seen one. But the old freezers that our grandparents used to have were these big, heavy, big fucking things. Yeah, with these huge fucking lids on them and stuff. And the way they would latch, there's no way a kid or anybody could get out of there, right? Like you can sit there and you can even probably pound on it and barely hear it, right? Because they're made that way, right? So yeah, this thing was a problem, especially because people would throw these things out.
Very sealed. You probably would have very limited air.
Well, that's just it. Yeah, and I think for a while there, like the junkyards wouldn't take them or whatever, so there was this epidemic or problem of people like it wouldn't be no big deal for. I mean, Greg might even remember it might still have happened over there, like where you just walked down an alley and you'd see like fucking 3 or 4 fucking stoves and refrigerators just because the junkyards wouldn't take them and people didn't want to pay them money to deal with it. So like, yeah.
I mean, the metal people picked them up pretty quick around here. Like
but back then that wasn't like a trade.
There. Like people had them in their driveways and everything.
Trying to get rid of them, but
just get them there and stuff. I mean, like you said, I get it. I get the edit. I even get the Toy Story 2 edit with the casting couch.
I hate that one though.
I get it, but I hate it. I hate it. I hate that they are releasing new.
I think that's on my blue.
Would they change a Toy Story 2? Would they change?
Oh, they don't have the Stinky Pete scene in there anymore in the end credits where he goes, "I can get you a part in Toy Story 3."
Yeah, with the 2 Barbie dolls.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
It's offensive.
They cut that whole bit out. Yeah.
It's only available on the Blu-ray. This is why Blu-rays and some of the older.
It is in the 3D version, I think, too. But yeah.
Yeah. At
Brian Bart, I have the 3D box set of those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's in the 3D and the original Blu-ray. The new 4Ks of them don't have it. It's
I haven't even bothered with those. And that's the thing with some of the. And I got a couple of Pixar movies in 4K, and it's the same problem with this here. Is you don't notice a big difference because most of all those were done in 2K anyway, and so they're just up converted for the 4Ks. Like Bug's Life, I didn't notice any difference between the 4K and the Blu-ray. Maybe a slight difference in the color, but like this movie's a little different because like the colors pop a little bit more because it's made. You know what I mean? Like especially like you can watch like the opening credit scene with all the colorful fish. You can definitely see the deeper, brighter colors. In comparison, it's not as different, but a little bit.
I miss the imagination of those days, man. God dang.
Yeah, a little more magical. I do think the new Lilo and Stitch will make money. I think
it's going to do.
I think it'll make a lot of money too.
And as long as they stuck to what made this movie work, they'll be fine.
I know there's been a few just like slight complaints about like the 2 guys that being the aliens not being. You know, one being a woman and everything. It was 2 guys, but you know, one dressed as a woman.
Oh, whatever. What's his face was pretty gay.
Yeah,
we all knew it back then.
You know, there's some complaints about that, and there's some complaints about the ice cream guy, and there's some complaints about the guy playing the black guy playing because it was like Ving Rhames.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like, why didn't you just have Ving Rhames play?
Yeah,
he's perfect for it.
But other than that, other than I've seen, most people are like super excited for this movie for their families and kids and stuff. So
yeah, and it is 40 minutes longer than this version, so it makes me wonder what they did change or add to it.
That's what worries you.
Well, I can see them trying to add elements of the show into like setting up into the movie a little
maybe
bit.
To set up some sequels a little bit, possibly.
I mean,
it is from the original people that made the original, so
There might be some. Hopefully, there's heart in it. That's what I'd be the most shocked.
From what
by.
I've seen so far, it looks good. I haven't seen one thing that has turned me off of it, other than couldn't you just get Bubbles to or Bing Rhymes to play Bubbles?
Yeah.
Like it just
like if we can get past the like obvious, oh, they did another adaptation, then hopefully it's good. Like that's what I'm hoping for, because it's always annoying that they're adapting another thing to live action.
I think this is a slight exception, because the difference here is between Snow White, Cinderella's, all those kind of things. Even Cinderella did okay, but I mean, Snow White, all those things, they don't really have a modern fan base necessarily. They have Disneyers who know them, but Lion King did very well. Aladdin did very well. Why? Because they're more modern Disney films, and our generation grew up with them, mine and Greg's.
Mm-hmm.
But your generation, Rook, grew up with Lilo and Stitch. So now your generation that's having kids now gets to take their little kids to Lilo and Stitch.
I feel
and Stitch is not changed, right? And that's the thing that they were smart about, is Stitch is exact. They even got the same person doing the fucking voice.
Well, that's good.
He looks just like he does in the cartoon with hair. They were smart. Yeah. They didn't change anything.
My guess though is like that even if they make it like as close to the cartoon as they can, I'm just betting that it won't, because it's like a cartoon. It's hard to make a cartoon the same. The humor won't land the same.
Yeah, there's a few things I can see where they might have to pull back a little bit on Stitch, because he is like cartoon.
Yeah,
like he's practically indestructible in the film.
But I mean, like some of the humor works better in cartoon, or you can just better visualize and animate, like the German, or not the German, the alien scientist who created Stitch. Like in his he has like what 4 or 5 eyes. He has a whole bunch of eyes, and like 4 arms and whatever. Like him visually is probably gonna look odd in live action if they have him look anything like he was in the movie, right? In the cartoon.
As far as I know, they look pretty close to what they look like in the cartoon. I haven't seen. I'm trying to remember. I think I've seen them in the trailers. But
I'm trying to remember like some of the visual gags anyway. But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see if it's good. I just want to see some passion behind one of these live action ones that don't feel like a pathetic, like soulless, like, oh, we're just adapting another thing because those were fun. I want it to be like, yeah, okay, no, we loved this, and we're really trying to, give it, its credit here.
We'll see. We shall see on it.
Yeah, we'll see. I had a question though, because since you watched like all the special features and stuff for it, for the most part, naming him 626, that's Stitch's like number, or like the number of experiments that the guy did on him. Is that like reference to 616, to like Marvel sort of, you think, inspiration, or just kind of like a coincidence of names, just 626 rolled off the tongue? So
that, and also I think it was kind of pre-planned that they were going to do a TV show, and you always want to try and get at least to 500 episodes.
That's good.
That's true.
That's a good assumption. I think that was another thing too. They had a good premise for a TV show. Like sometimes I think they don't have great premises for a TV show continuing a movie, but having all these different experiments with all these different types of ones that are weird and Stitch-like makes for it made for a fun show. I remember.
I guess Rookie was kind of right. I forgot. Yeah, you're right, because what they do in the movie is they do look like they do in the cartoon, but then they have like these disguises that make them human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why people are bitching, is they didn't make Pleakley a fucking woman. Yeah.
Yeah, because he dresses as a woman in the cartoon.
And he is pretty gay in the cartoon.
It's like that's another thing that probably translate to live action, is the humor of it, because it'll be like a CGI or a guy in a like it's already going to be weird visually. So like adding an extra layer on top of it,
I wonder how that will work. I see what, I mean, thinking about it at first, I'm kind of like, resistant to it, but I'm like, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Your point is pretty sound with, it's going to be hard to kind of hide those guys. It's kind of like as silly as the Ninja Turtles going out in fucking trench coats and fucking
exactly.
a hat, and thinking that's going to disguise them, or the thing. Yeah.
There's just a lot of things that cartoons can just kind of, animations can make visually better looking, because you can just create it, as to where this, you have to try to make it look like it's real, and even it's already an alien, and then trying to it's a human CG, whatever. It's going to be difficult to make that work. It's is my point. But yeah, so yeah, good movies. I like Lilo and Stitch and whatnot as well.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So
And your bad level is here, by the way, Rook.
My bad level.
Yeah, your naughty level or whatever it is. That's one of my favorite things. We need you're here. We need you down here.
We need you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I used to use that all the time when we were referencing certain things.
All right. Well, I guess I'll do my last pick of the night
All
if
right,
you're
what you
ready. I'll keep it family friendly. God made him simple. Science made him a god. The Lawnmower Man. A nice family
I was gonna
movie.
watch that and I didn't get around to it. I should have with all the movies I watched, right?
Right. I had not seen this in a long time, and this might play into your final pick once you get to it, but this is when Scream Factory was Scream Factory. They did great. You got the director's cut and the theatrical cut, which I thought I had never seen a director's cut ever before. Then I watched it, and I was like, maybe I've never actually seen the theatrical cut of the movie. But what's interesting about this, because you talked about it, how we this might have a new 4K coming. We heard something about it like that. The theatrical cut is a new 4K scan from the interpositive, and the director's cut is a 4K scan of the interpositive with additional director's cut footage from the original camera negative put back into the movie. So that's kind of interesting because it does say in the beginning when you watch the director's cut that it does say in the beginning of the movie that like with the director's cut where they wanted to branch it into the movie stuff just like he had done on the VHS or whatever.
I was just saying in the background, I didn't want to interrupt you, but like, yeah, when they released this on VHS, I think you're right. I think because it did so horribly in the box office because of all the shit with Stephen King trying to sue him and everything. I think that they did a new version of it for like it was a VHS version. So it's basically been the quote unquote director's cut that we've seen all these years.
Yeah. And it does say in the beginning, like you'll see it switch over to the director, the scenes they've inserted. But they try to make it as smoothly as possible where you don't notice. And you only really do notice it a few times here and there where it like switches over. And which is funny because like the extra scenes added in do look a little more filmic. They're a little more grainy because they come from the original camera negative and the rest of the movie comes from an interpositive. But no, the director's cut is well worth it. It's 141 minutes long as compared to the theatrical cut, which is 108 minutes long. It's Jeff Fahey is incredible as the Lawnmower Man. I don't give a shit what Stephen King thinks. I don't care what the box office thinks. I know this is one of those. This is a good movie. This is a good movie with good performances. Is it cheesy? Is it a bit campy? Is it a bit like like so bad it's good? A little bit, but it's still like a fun movie, and it's very interesting to watch. And it honestly, it was a little bit ahead of its time. It was a little bit ahead of its time with the whole VR. People will like they say, people will be living in the virtual world and stuff and be hooked in all the time, which we sort of are today in today's day and age with social media and virtual reality and stuff that's come along. And like even when he gets smart, for Rook, I assume you have never seen this, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I'll explain the plot to you in the movie, but first I do want to address this real quick. Movie Homicide, it's worth it. I think a 4K player is worth it. You get the right one. Sony's coming out with a new one that's a 4K player. You get you that or whatever one you can find. It's worth it because you can find some good 4Ks now. The 4K, some people don't like 4Ks and that, so that's all up to you. But I think it's worth it. But anyways, the plot of this movie, Rook, is that Pierce Brosnan, who you guys may know from James Bond and so many other things, he's a scientist, which this is also like Pierce Brosnan's normal thing because he's usually portrayed, he's like usually this suave British guy. And in this, he's like this very scientist, like sort of dirty scientist. And I don't mean like dirty, like naughty. I mean like he's like very rarely doesn't shave. He likes to smoke and he's like so vested into his work, like that. But anyways, he's experimenting with virtual reality on chimpanzees to see if he can make them smarter. And the government wants to use them to make them weapons. And one of them gets like the best of the subjects escapes, and he stumbles across this guy in this shed on this church ground. So he's called the Lawnmower Man. He's simple. He's he's not smart. He's and he thinks the monkey is his comic book character that he reads about. So he takes him back to his shed, and it's like trying to protect him, and then they show up and end up killing the monkey. And then Pierce Brosnan knows the guy because he does his lawn, because that's what he does. He lives at the church and he cuts people's lawns. So Pierce Brosnan decides that he wants to use his experiments on him, because he doesn't want to make a weapon for the government, and so he gets mad what they did to Champ. So he starts taking him back to his house and sending him to the virtual reality world and stimulating his brain and trying to make him smarter. And he succeeds in making him smarter, but he succeeds to an extent to where this man becomes so freaking smart, he surpasses him, and he becomes like a god, where he can control the virtual world and the real world at the same time.
I would never guess this is the same movie that you said, Lawnmower Man.
It's called The Lawnmower Man. Yeah. Yeah, it's
I think you brought this up. I think we brought this up during Virtuosity, if I remember right.
I think we might have. Yeah, it's same director, by the way.
Yeah,
same director. Yeah.
I was thinking this is going to be along the routes of this guy dedicates his life to cutting the perfect grass, and then I don't know, something happens and he's got to use his skills doing something else. I don't know, and then kill people. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
Well, the original short story is really simple.
Yeah,
it's almost as simple as a guy that's in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally this mentally retarded dude who mows lawns or whatever, and he keeps getting shit from his neighbor, and he ends up killing his neighbor with a lawnmower. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the story.
That's what it sounded like. It was kind of like kids keep on throwing poop on my yard, and I'm gonna kill them then.
So the movie added all the other elements to it, which I mean, Stephen King's got to understand. You gotta add something to it, or it's not.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch a guy get picked up for 2 hours and then finally kill his neighbor who's got mental retardation. You don't want to see that.
Yeah. Let's have this guy who mows the lawn.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as far as
to the virtual reality world, and then be given the powers of God, and then
I mean, honestly. He should be thanking these guys, because otherwise that story is barely even good enough for a Tales from the Dark Side segment.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Otherwise, without the other aspect to the story, it's not a movie. And that batshit craziness is what made the movie The Lawnmower Man, which is why we still talk about it to this day, because it was so memorable as far as
it sounds like half a pitch. The guy mows lawns, okay, and then what? Okay, now here's where.
And his neighbor's a dick. Yeah. So he kills him. Oh, so then he goes on a killing spree with the lawnmower. I got it. It's great. We can make. No, that's it.
No.
Yeah, that's
doesn't kill anybody else.
Yeah.
What? No, that's it.
He had some lemonade.
It's you got half a fucking story here, man. Not even half.
No alien. No. No alien.
Is that the director's cut is 30 minutes longer or something like that almost?
The director's cut is it's 141 minutes for the director's cut, 108 minutes for the theatrical cut. So it's like a 30-something minutes longer. The director cut, Ace Hanlon, is the superior version of the film. It is better. And I mean, there's still elements of the Stephen King. He is simple. Jeff Fahey is great in this.
Yeah, they basically take the same element. Yeah, I don't even know why he was that resistant. I don't understand. It's motherfucker, you made Maximum Overdrive. Sit down and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, so this is better than Maximum Overdrive, and I love Maximum Overdrive.
I do too, but I mean, dude, I get it. This is a bad movie, but shut up. Just shut up.
Just shut up. It's so great because you believe it. Jeff Fahey, to borrow from Tropic Thunder, he doesn't go full retard. So he plays it. Well, just
not
right.
only that, the effects in this movie and the way that was utilized and everything became so iconic, even though the movie bombed. Right, it was even satirized. I don't know how many different things. You know what I mean? It was. It's kind of weird. It was almost a hit that wasn't a hit. Yeah. Because everybody knows what it is. And it's it's referenced constantly. Even still to this day, people talk, we bring it up almost on a weekly basis. It gets brought up and invoked in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those movies that, Waterworld and certain other ones that just can't seem to go away no matter how bad they were supposedly received at the time they came out.
Yeah, and it wasn't that it was a bomb, Corleone Rogue. It was like the way people trashed the movie, especially after Stephen
Oh
King.
yeah, they fucking hated it. The critics hated it. I mean, we made fun. Look, the reason the movie probably has lived on this long is because it became a joke, right? Like that was kind of the thing. And sometimes that can happen to a movie where 20, 30 years later, what was a joke can suddenly have new resonance, right? Like, I mean, even look at something as simple as Barbarella, like we were talking about earlier. They don't make movies like that no more.
No,
Bikini Car Wash and shit like that, unless you want to go see a porno.
Yeah. But no, I hadn't seen the movie in a long time, and now that I've watched it, you watch and see. They'll finally announce the 4K because supposedly it's coming.
Well, and that when you were explaining that, what I think is going on here is they quickly scanned the finished version of the film, because when they do these scans, you guys got to understand. This is why it takes so long for them to do these. They scan the original film negative, right, which is the film from the camera, literally cut together with the cement. Fucking where they splice it, splicers. That's what I was trying to think.
Yeah.
So they got to deal with all that kind of shit, and they have to basically re-edit the entire fucking movie. And a good way of seeing how this is done is check out that Vinegar Syndrome video I was just talking about earlier, where they talk about dirty work, because you kind of see them working on a station where it's basically that's what they got to do. They take all these scanned pieces, and then they probably have what is another cut of the original cut of the film from whatever version they have, either another scan from the Blu-ray, the DVD, even in some cases possibly the Laserdisc or whatever it is they're working from for an initial basis or map. And they literally got to lay in all those shots one by one over top of the other that was there from the new scans to match the audio.
Yep.
And then they do all the remastering from that process on. So they're like literally rebuilding the movie again. And that's how they've been fortunate to find some of these movies with pieces and bits and pieces that have been missing for years, because they hadn't gone back to the original negative in that long. Yeah. That happened to Psycho as a great example. There was people that had no fucking clue that Psycho was edited.
Yeah. No, but it's like a minute extra of the shower scene.
That and the stair scene. There's like a few more stabs because nobody knew and forgot. And historians had forgot that the censors made Hitchcock cut those little bits. All these years, nobody remembered that. And then when they went back to the original negative, finally, after all this time, they're like, oh shit, there's a whole extra minute here. Or not quite a minute, but you know what I mean? Like 30 some seconds or whatever it is. But like, kind of like with Nightmare on Elm Street, same kind of thing, you know? Nobody knew, as far as I know, at least. I mean, that's not totally true. We did know of a couple of those shots. So, yeah.
But I do recommend the Lawnmower Man. I did almost think about watching the sequel. I may get to.
Now that's a piece of shit.
Yeah, the sequel is so fucking bad. And I mean, like they replaced Jeff Fahey with Matt Frewer, who was Max Headroom.
Oh, it's just a weird fucking movie all around.
It's insane. Yeah, but no, I highly recommend Rook. I highly recommend the Lawnmower Man. It's a great performance.
It's on Tubi, so I can watch it soon if I want to.
I don't know which version Tubi has, and the director's cut is so much better than the theatrical cut. So much better. It's just a fun movie. I had a good time with it.
It's funny. I just looked at the budget because I was trying to remember. Like, I remember the big deal about this movie was how much money they spent on it. They only spent $10 million on it. Then that was a big deal. Like, for New Line Cinema, that was a big deal.
I miss old New Line Cinema, man. I was just thinking about that as well too, because I was just thinking about Book of Love again and Big Girls Don't Cry, They Get Even again, because I still haven't seen that movie, but I've seen Book of Love. I was thinking like when I was watching this with the old.
I got Big Girls Don't Cry on digital, and I watched it a couple of years back. It's all right. It holds up for the most part, but it's.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it. I remember
you've never seen it.
Well,
the movie is not what the trailer promised you. You gotta see. You gotta understand that from the front. They were trying to present the movie like it was going to be like a female Ferris Bueller movie or something like that. Because y'all have seen the trailer in front of Ninja Turtles 2.
Times.
If you have Ninja Turtles 2 on VHS, it was, but the movie itself is more in line with kind of like My Girl in a sense, because what happens is I'm trying to remember the exact how it goes down, but it's like you have the two. It's like two sets of Brady Bunch families basically, because both parents got divorced and both sides, and they got all these kids, and there's tons of them, and the middle child gets lost in the mix, and she ends up taking the fuck off.
Yeah.
So then the whole movie's like a road trip movie where the whole family. Oh, actually, you know what it's more reminding me of is The Wizard. Now that I think about it, only without a retarded kid. Because that's basically what it is. It's this chick who just decides she's going to take the fuck off on her family. It's like a reversal Home Alone, but it's not funny as much. I mean, it has funny moments,
it's like a dramedy,
but it's more of a dramedy, yes. And it's got a great cast. It's got a really good cast, but it feels like it's based, and it might even be based on like some young adult novel written by some woman in the 80s or 90s. Like it has that feeling to it. It's that Sunday afternoon on fucking Disney Channel kind of movie.
Yeah. Okay.
The trailer presented it more of a comedy, like a John Hughes kind of comedy, when it's not that funny. It's funny, but it's not that funny. You know what I mean? Right. They show basically all the funny bits in the trailer. And the other thing was it was one of the first movies I think Fred Savage was in too.
Yeah. Or Ben Savage, you mean?
Ben, that's what I meant. Yeah, the one from Boy Meets World or whatever.
Yeah. But I do recommend the Lawnmower Man, and I know this will help get into one of your final picks here, but this is loaded with special features on both discs. Like it's got a Cyber God because I know, Tom, you want to talk about that. It's got Cyber God creating the Lawnmower Man, featuring interviews with co-writer director Brett Leonard, actor Jeff Fahey, and more. Audio commentary, deleted scenes, original electronic press kit with cast interviews and behind the scenes footage, edited animated sequences, TV spots, trailers, another commentary, conceptual art and design, sketches, behind the scenes production stills, storyboard comparisons. And matter of fact, after I was done watching this, I found an Easter egg. Do you guys remember those? You guys remember Easter eggs on Blu-rays and DVDs?
I do.
Right? I was just clicking through the menu and I clicked over and it highlighted something. I was like, wait a minute. That's not thing. I clicked it, and it's a commercial to win a brand new virtual reality set or a car or be a walk-on role in the sequel to Lawnmower Man and the 900 number to call. Because originally they were going to do a sequel right after this one. Yeah, they were supposed to do a sequel, and then it took like 5 or 6 years.
New Line did a lot of those. They did one for The Mask too. They did. What was the other one they did? I think it was one of the House Party movies or something like that.
I was gonna say I wanted to say one of the House
Street.
Parties.
I think they did as well. One of them for it. They at least had the hotline. I don't remember about the walk-on roll or not, but
it was fun. It was like one of these like those old commercials like you've seen. It's like from the VHS. Matter of fact, I believe it was. But it's like if you guys remember, like on the Blu-rays and DVDs back in the day, I'm sure they still do them, but they're not as much anymore. Like they're little Easter eggs. You flip through the menus and stuff, and sometimes something will highlight that's not supposed to, and you find a little hidden treasure. But this has got a lot of stuff to it. It's got both cuts of the film. I do think the director's cut is superior, and according to Media Archive Mike out there, Rook, they have both cuts of the Lawnmower Man on Tubi. No, I just enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Jeff Fahey's performance and Pierce Brosnan's performance, because Pierce Brosnan to me is like, I'm so used to seeing him as like James Bond or some like suave guy, and he's very different in this, and I think he plays very well. And then Jeff Fahey, he's a great character actor, and he plays it so well, where he's like this very simple, innocent man who is, like the church takes care of him, but the priest beats him with the belt because he thinks he's, bad. And then like the guy at the gas station picks on him. And his only really good friend that he has, two friends that he has, is what's his name? Jeffrey Lewis, who is the priest's brother. He runs the lawnmower business. He works for him. And then the kid who lives next door to Pierce Brosnan is his only other friend that they have, and they share comic books with each other and stuff. So when it gets to the point where he becomes so smart and he becomes this like God level being who is completely different than the character you saw in the beginning of the movie, it's kind of sad, because you want to hope there's a way to save Job. And I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's never seen it, because it does it. And then it's filled with tons of very early CGI in the virtual reality world. It's just like, that was one of the things I think so many people made fun of, was like the CGI is like, it's so bad and everything. But that means like that was early days. That's what did they expect? But no, check it out. It's great, and it's one of the. I don't know how long ago Shout Factory releases. I think I want to say 2014, maybe.
I was gonna say, well, if the 4K is coming out, it's about that time, and
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, and this is when they were good. It was when they were good. So, that being said, let's go to you, Tom. For your
I do have
pick.
one Shout Factory release in my pile here
Mm-hmm.
of 1, 2, 3, 4 different titles, 4 of which are on this 5-pack of Van Damme. So let's get into some Van Damme-age. Don't tell me you've never seen no Van Damme movies, Rook.
I mean, I've probably seen one or two.
He didn't know Charlie Sheen was
the
a
wrong
movie
side of
as a
town that
brother.
has Rob Van Dam.
Well, since you hinted at this, and we start there, the Shout Factory title that was oddly released by Warner Brothers with Bloodsport back in the day,
Yeah,
is Time Cop. And
Yes.
the movie looks amazing.
but
The movie looks amazing.
because
I had it referenced in South Park where either at Walmart, yeah, you could buy 3 copies of Time Cop.
no, I know Planet CHH and you had a little thing about this. So
Look at all those special features.
it's a brand new transfer.
Whoa.
Not a single, not even a fucking trailer.
It's lazy. That's lazy shit.
And you know what's sad? I was right. I think I was talking to you about this or somebody else. This is Van Damme's biggest movie. How does this not get any fucking love?
Yeah, no interviews with the director, no behind the scenes EPKs or anything like that from the back the day, no trailer, nothing.
I don't have the old DVD anymore. I swear I used to, and I think the old DVD even may have had like the fucking HBO making of special or whatever you call it. You know what I mean? The EPK special.
Yeah.
Even in the fucking trailers and shit, at least. I could be wrong, but this has absolutely dick all on it. It's like
they're charging
full fucking price.
$30 for nothing.
You know what? I just assumed this was just the 4K for $20.
Yes.
I don't need a fucking Blu-ray of it. I already got a fucking Blu-ray of it.
Yes, exactly.
Now, compared to this old ass Blu-ray, this looks fucking amazeballs.
Yeah.
Like the transfer is amazing. It's the same 5.1 DTS mix or whatever, as far as I can tell. But what the fuck are you doing? I even made the joke on what's the space you just mentioned him, Christian.
CHH.
Yeah. I even mentioned the joke on there. I said, because he said, "Why is this a Scream Factory release?"
Yeah. It's not even
and I'm thinking the same thing. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is this a Scream Factory release? Makes absolutely no sense. And then I commented on this thing. I mean, at least if it was Shout Select, we'd understand why there's no special features. Because for those who don't know, who aren't the regular listeners around here, I'm constantly griping about how Shout Select is either just the same fucking special features that were on the DVD or none.
Yeah.
It's like, why even make it sound like some prestigious line when you're not going to do shit?
Yeah. it's truly sad because I mean I'm not going to pay $30.
Don't blame you. I just did because it's my favorite Van Damme movie.
I mean, it's one of my favorites too, and I would absolutely love the 4K. Maybe I'll get it on a sale or something, but I'm not paying $30 just for the 4K.
I was just going to say, wait for a sale. And I mean, honestly, Shout, what the fuck, dude? Just release a fucking 4K version of it, and that's it. And only charge us $21 or whatever fuck you think you got to charge.
That's what pisses me off about them, and you could tell the people that used to work on Shout, like what we just talked about, Phantom of the Paradise or Lawnmower Man and stuff. You can tell those people no longer work there because of the state of the releases that are coming out and how they're being released. Like you said, why is Time Cop a Scream Factory? It doesn't remotely. I mean, it plays the genre film with time travel,
but it's a fucking comic book movie.
Yeah, it's not a horror movie or something in that vein. It's like it's based on a comic book.
I mean. It is a great fucking movie. Have you seen it, Rook?
No, he said he's.
No, I haven't.
Oh, dude, you need to see Time Cop.
Time Cop's great.
Time Cop is probably one of the greatest time travel movies besides Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm.
I love the time travel rules. To me, this movie, if in my brain, this is how time travel probably works. You can't go to the future. because it hasn't happened yet.
Interesting.
You can go to the past, but the same matter cannot occupy the same space. So if you can't touch yourself.
Yeah. Rook, no touching yourself.
That's right. So no crazy
that
weird
wasn't
sex
the
kink
first
thing
thing
going
on the
down. Yeah. So those are the rules. But otherwise, so what the movie's about is, he's a time cop. And so since there's time travel that's now invented, they need cops to go back because obviously criminals get a hold of bootleg fucking machines and they go back in time and they, invest in the stock market or, other kind of fancy, or just go ahead and rob a fucking gold.
Yeah.
A gold wagon, which they do in the very beginning of the movie. So yeah. And so they need cops to go back and stop these things. And every time one of these things happen, they get a ripple in the timeline or whatever that their system picks up.
Which is funny because speaking of like your rules of time travel, how you think this has happened, it's kind of like the Mandela effect stuff where like, because they get ripples through time where they notice something has changed, but they can't figure it out. So that's why they have to go back and fix it. That's kind of like with the whole CERN and like Mandela effect where like there's ripples where people remember the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstein Bears and stuff like that. So like it actually plays well with some of that shit stuff, so
kind of. Because because the coolest part is or not coolest part, but like one of the interesting parts of the story is because he goes back in time to take care of this typical, what he thinks is going to be a typical fucking thing. And he comes to find out that one of the main players that's been manipulating this the whole time, I'm not going to say who or how they're doing or why, but let's just say that they're manipulating the whole time. Well, he falls prey to their trap. And when he gets back, nobody remembers him.
Mm-hmm.
Loki up to his mischief again.
Yeah, so he's got to basically do that's kind of the setup. So he gets back and nobody remembers him. So now he's got to fix time because otherwise he doesn't exist in this timeline, basically.
Without them being aware of time travel.
And there's a lot more to it. There's a hell of a lot more to it. I'm giving you the kernels and hoping that you're I kind of want to see this movie now.
Yeah.
And better yet, you get to see Jean-Claude Van Damme do the fucking splits as always. That's the gayest thing ever.
I mean, Rook's into that stuff. I mean,
no, this is definitely his best film ever. That's
this is one of the ones where he's like really trying to act as well too. It's not just all about his fighting.
That's on Tubi as well, so I can watch it.
Oh, it's good. It's you'll like it. And yeah, I wish I could say more about it. I wish I knew more about the movie, but I don't know all that much.
Yeah, they didn't give you no special features behind.
Well, and the Mandela effect is one of those weird fucking things, man. Yeah, isn't it? And it is kind of funny. I didn't even think about that really too much until this kind of does have that kind of a notion to it.
It sort of does. That's what I was.
I mean, they actually can key in on where the ripples are coming from, right? And it usually has to be a big thing because there are small ripples made throughout the film that obviously don't trigger anybody, right? But it's the whole point is when somebody does trigger something that's that big, and this is why I don't like the butterfly effect rule, right? Because the butterfly effect rule is so broad. Because to me, the idea that you could kill one butterfly and it affects everything down the line, it's okay, that butterfly had to be pretty fucking important.
Right.
Because to me, you could go kill some Joe Schmo who did jack all for his fucking life and nothing is going to change. But if you go back and kill JFK when he's a child.
Oh, that apartment has a different person in it. Okay.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, that apartment now is not occupied by that person. Somebody else has their job. Yeah. To me, the majority of people in the world are like worker ants when it comes to the timeline. We all just kind of fill in the gaps. There's an important set of people and places and things that happen that if you disrupt those things, yes, you're going to cause a major disturbance in the force. Yeah. Right? But to me, killing a fucking butterfly back in the day, that ain't going to change shit. I don't care what anybody said. You being there is more of a bigger deal than you stepping on that fucking butterfly.
Your physical presence now
exactly
in the universe is already that's a different change. What?
To me, is a bigger deal. And I'm sitting here going, here's my other concern when I think about, because I've thought a lot about time travel and how it's possible. And traveling to future is technically possible, but really all you're doing is either A, knocking yourself out and cryogenically freezing yourself in some form, or traveling at the speed of light to where everybody else is just aging faster than you are.
Yeah.
That's the only technical way you can go to the future, but you're not really quote unquote going to the future, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But the past is a different story. And that's the thing is I don't know if you could technically physically actually go in the past. I don't know if it's possible. But if it were, these are the kind of rules that because to me, I think the timeline, like with Back to the Future, it will kind of like either deviate or whatever, but it's not gonna, there isn't multiple timelines. I don't believe in this multiverse shit.
Yeah, the multiverse, yeah.
And that's just my personal opinion. If you guys do, I'm not calling you stupid for believing it. I'm not thinking that's a dumb idea if you believe it. It's totally possible and makes sense. But to me, the timeline must work in a way where it's like elastic. To where if something were to happen to it, let's just say for the sake of argument, you went back in time and you killed Hitler. Yes, that's going to have major events down the road. But if you just go back and kill some fucking taxi driver in New York, all that's going to happen is, like we just said, the timeline is going to just kind of in a way of like a rubber band, just kind of bend and fix itself. Because there's nothing else that really needs to change it, or it's just going to kind of jump over that space and nothing else will change beyond there. Maybe some people will do things in their lives, unless it affects somebody down the road that's that important in the timeline of events in our world. Because otherwise we kind of live in this collective, especially now with the World Wide Web, right? Like it's even more connected.
Yeah.
To where at least when we were younger, we didn't have that. It was like there was still like a war could be going on in our fucking next town and we wouldn't fucking know about it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Time Machine for a sec, where like, but that's like where pretty much you can time travel, but you can't really change anything. Like you can go back in time, but you can change their death. But
well, the problem with that is coming back. See, and that's the one thing I like about Endgame, even though they explain it and do it in a convoluted fucking way.
Yeah.
That I kind of agree with, is like once you leave your initial time, you can't go back to where you came from. It's impossible. Because now that timeline no longer exists. Right. So that's where I believe in the elasticity of the timeline. It has to happen or you can't travel through time. It's impossible. It's just impossible.
That helps ground it in a way, because when it's like, you can have multiple, like, it's like, okay, so everything can just exist everywhere all the time in a way, when you put it that way, as to where when it's like, no, some things have to happen because they did happen. So.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like it doesn't matter.
That kind of in a way almost makes it feel like it fits in the laws of physics in a way.
Unless you look at it in the sense that like if somebody goes back in time to do something, they always did that. So they're actually stuck in an infinite time loop. See, and that's kind of like the whole basis, and I agree with people who say that Marty's in a time loop. And what we're seeing is the end of the time loop. That he breaks it finally by changing what he does at the end. Otherwise, he was constantly stuck in this continual loop of going back in time and seeing Doc killed, and until he finally changed one thing and I believe that's a likely theory that's true. I don't know if anybody's ever asked Bob and Bob about that, but you know, the whole idea, I got a fucking time machine. I can go anywhere I want.
Yeah.
You know, because that's the thing is in the original timeline, he didn't stop it from happening. Right. So,
well, did they make it? Did they make it where he did change things, or like where things still happen? Because like when Doc has his children, Jules and Vern, are they supposed to be the Jules and Vern, or just simply named after them? He named them
just simply named after them, because Jules Verne is one person, I think. And he was already existed because that was the joke, remember? Because he goes, when I read Jules Verne as a child, I felt like. As a child, Emmett, that book just came out 6 years ago. I meant it made me feel like a child.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know with time shenanigans if like
he goes back like
to a time where the kids
that is basically like her. That is like her naming one of her kids Stephen and the other one King.
Yeah.
Right. But hold on, I'm just forget because
actually not even that. It'd be a more contemporary one. Like what's her face that wrote like 50 Shades of Grey or the Twilight series?
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah.
But I mean, Time Cop is great, and it really depends. I do think it has one of the best time travel rules, because there's the multiple theories. There's the whole when you time travel to the past, you're doing what you're always doing. That's the timeline. That's what it was always. You always went back in time. You always did this, and you always came back at this point in time. So you're not changing anything. Or you have the butterfly effect theory, where if you kill a butterfly, it changes the whole world in the future. Or you have the whole you can go back and you can change a few things, but then it'll get a ripple, and then somebody will notice it, and then you can go back and fix it. So
okay, I can kind of see that making sense too. Like, let's say like one of the robbers robs a bank successfully, and then in the present time, in the future or whatever, it's not that they knew that these robbers did it, but they're like, huh, back in those days, money went missing somehow. We never caught the people or something. Like, it changes in that sort of vague way, where
and see, that's where the time cops come in, like, because the beginning of the film, it like kicks off literally with what you're saying. Like, these guys go back in time and they rob a Wells Fargo stagecoach of all their gold.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Okay, literally.
And so, like, they have this meeting and they're like, 100 years ago, the stagecoach was robbed and they never found the gold or caught the guys. 2 days ago, a couple of guys came in with pristine fucking gold and we tested it. It carbon dates.
Yeah. So we know.
So, like, and they're like, well, time travel's not possible. It's like, well, yeah, it is.
It is.
And not only is it, somebody else has one already.
Yeah.
And so they basically sell the idea, we need time cops, because God forbid, what happens if somebody goes back and invents the car?
We need the time department.
Something like that. Yeah, that's really what it is. It's somebody to regulate the history, and they notice when something gets fucked up. Yeah.
I feel like I've seen movies that rip on this concept, that like have the weird division of cops, and maybe I'm thinking of like Red Letter Media's Space or Cop or something, and like R.I.P.D. or something. And there's ones that sound similar to this.
It's kind of like that, but it's not nearly. It's pretty straightforward and dead fucking serious with what it's doing.
Yeah.
Right. It takes it completely seriously. It's not even. I mean, yeah, there's probably some humorous moments in it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, it's like the whole point of and the whole idea of it is like, this is what probably most likely would be if there was time travel. Because first of all, they would try to stop anybody else from getting it, but it's too late for them to stop that. So now they just need to be able to regulate it as best as possible. Because like they say in the beginning, God forbid somebody else besides America decides to invent the computer or the car or what have you, and changes everything.
And they
or
did
the nuclear bomb, and he even mentions that. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and so like then it sets up, then it jumps ahead to where you got, John Claude's character and his background. You get his setup as to who he is and where he comes from, and I don't want to give anything else away. Like I said, I want you to see the movie as fresh as you can.
I am intrigued because I'm already thinking of questions I would ask. Like, do they start with this being a thing that an element of the world now? Do thieves or people that go back in time have to be way more careful, and could they avoid detection? But I have to watch.
It's actually, I mean, as long as you don't cause any major ripples, you could probably get away. It's like, that's the thing, is they can get away with shit so
like,
far.
Yeah, as lame as the Loki show is, they kind of do a thing where they're like, oh, like she goes to this place where things are about to all be destroyed, so she's like there a little bit before it explodes or something, and then like,
I mean, if you're smart, you could probably pull something like that off. Yeah,
it's like not the worst idea, for like trying to hide it throughout time as like.
No, you're right, Rookie. Like, if you go back and look and see, like, okay, there was this famous explosion in this one place with like a bank nearby or something like that, or in a bank or something like that.
Yeah,
and you go back and you rob the bank just before it explodes.
Yeah, instead
of then you find out that you're the one who blew it up in the first fucking place, so it doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly.
Have you ever read the Sound of Thunder?
I'm familiar with it. I've never watched it, but that's similar to the butterfly effect thing.
Similar to that. I read the book. I never saw the movie. But that's what they do. Is like in that is like they carefully go back and have these people hunt these dinosaurs to kill them exactly at the moment they were supposed to die. So that way they're not changing anything. And then they do the whole it has a mess up when they get back to the future and all that. So.
And I mean, and Brian, honestly, if it does get invented, if anybody has invented it or will invent it, it's probably going to be like Primer. It's on accident.
It's CERN. It's the over in where's that at? Switzerland or whatever. CERN, the thing. that's where the Mandela effect comes from. Everybody says.
But if you haven't seen Primer and you're really, really nerdy into time travel stuff, that's a movie to check out. It's a little mind bending and will fuck you up a little bit. But
I've heard about. I haven't seen that, but I've
you've
heard
never
about
seen
that
Primer.
one.
Okay,
No,
yeah,
I've heard about
it's
it.
actually just finally got a Blu-ray release not too long ago. I think overseas, but and I got it. But no, it's a really interesting film because it's about these guys. They're trying to work, I think, on a way of preserving food or something like that initially. So they got like this machine. I think that's what was it that or something like they're trying to create this machine for some completely other use, and they end up putting this. It's not to preserve food; it's something else. But what happens is they put an orange in it for whatever reason to test it, and the orange molds and like really fast, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
And then they do something else and it unmolds. So they're like, "Shit, did we just accidentally?" invent time travel. So then they get this theory that like, okay, we can build this thing inside of it because it's stable. They can't move it, right? Like it's and it goes from there. So like build it in this fucking, and it's been years since I watched. I haven't watched the Blu-ray yet since I got it. So you have to excuse me. It's been a long time since I've seen it, and it really fucks with you when you get through it. But like, so like they decide, okay, if we build this machine inside this fucking storage facility, we might theoretically be able to travel through time. So let's test it. And they test it a couple times, and the first time I think they jump a couple hours. Okay. Then they jump like a day or so, or then like a week. And then they start noticing that there's issues with the jumps. So, and I'm not going to give you too much more from there, but like then when you start to figure out what the fuck, the end is like this really twisted fucking ending. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck just, and you kind of have to reverse yourself back through the whole movie to figure out what just happened. It's kind of one of those kind of movies. And then you're like,
yeah,
oh shit. Okay. You're like, okay, now it's making sense. Like,
I need to see this one.
And just kind of the idea of how these two guys just kind of accidentally create time travel is kind of interesting because they're guys who do it in their fucking garage, right? And that's exactly what would happen, kind of like Doc Brown, some crazy motherfucker.
Accidentally makes it, doesn't even realize it.
Yeah. And another one I want to see that I've never actually seen is the one that's based on the joke article that somebody, or joke
I've seen that one. That is a good movie.
What is it called?
I know what you're talking about because I said
Safety Not Guaranteed. Safety Not Guaranteed.
I love that movie.
You've seen it? Okay.
Great movie. Yeah.
I want to see it. I haven't got a chance to see it yet. I've heard so many good things about it because everybody's like, "Oh, you love time travel? You'll love that." Like,
yeah,
okay.
That movie is like, it's like a small indie film. And it really, because it's much more indie than like the science fiction. Like the time travel is sort of like secondary to the story. I don't want to, I'm not going to spoil it or anything for you, but it's like, it really is this great movie about dealing with something that happened in your past, getting older and accepting your life. And then when you get, it's just good. I don't want to spoil it because that is a good movie. So I do want to see Primer, but I do recommend Safety Not Guaranteed. That is a good movie.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Because it looked like it sounded more like a funner version of, because it is kind of a quasi dramedy or something like that, right?
Yeah, it's a quasi, like I said, it's got humor and stuff, especially with like Aubrey Plaza. Going to this guy who says he's invented time travel, and she's like going to write an article.
Yeah, because that's what it's based on. Is this article, the joke article or ad that somebody put in the paper, and it's like verbatim what they have in the movie, basically.
Looking for someone to go to travel time, safety not guaranteed, or whatever. Yeah, so like it's like the comedy comes from them, and her trying to figure out if it's real or not, and then like you have like the guy that's come along with her boss or whatever, and he's like, he's aging, even though he's really not that old, but like it's the guy from Jurassic World, the one that works at the computer with the other girl. But like he's like her boss, and he's like aging, and he's coming back to this place where this guy lives, where he's good because his old high school girlfriend is there, and it's like he's dealing with his aging. So like it plays well with like time in that sense, like young and getting older and past mistakes and stuff. But yeah, it's a lighthearted dramedy. It's a fun one. So you check it out. And also, if you've never seen it, it's one I like. It's called Frequently Asked Questions About Time Travel.
Oh, I've never heard of that one.
It stars I think it's a British movie, but Anna Faris is in it. But it's about these three guys in the pub who walk into this bathroom in the pub and they time travel. They don't realize it at first. And then it kind of like keeps snowballing from there. And it plays around with the rules like you were talking about, like all the rules of time travel. Like, is it meant to happen? Is this what we always went through? Is it the ripple effect, or is it the butterfly effect? And it's really funny. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it even has a release here in America at all that I remember. But anyway, yeah, it's a fun one. It's a fun one. But go. You want to finish with your Van Dams, and we'll close it out because we've got 3 hours.
Yeah, I got a couple more Van Dams here. Actually, a lot of Van damage going on. All right, let's go with the next one. Isn't a 4K, but is our old buddies over at Mill Creek. You love them, I love them, and I'll be damned if they didn't put together a better package than Shit Factory can.
Yeah, that is nice.
When it comes to Street Fighter, even though the transfer, as far as I can tell, is the same exact one from the Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
This one's in ABC, that one's in VC1. I didn't notice any difference. But this does have new special features on it. Mm-hmm. So props to them for that. And they're not even crappy ones. There's actually some pretty good ones on here. Even interview with Ed Pressman, who's dead. Right? Like, so like,
nice.
Yeah. So like they, they did as much as they could here for this one. And it's kind of trying to be
like the
not quite as fancy as Lionsgate, but I mean, the back is brilliant.
For me, it was just a Tuesday.
Yeah. And I mean, inside, just in case you get a
bison
$1,
buck.
Bison buck. Yep. Get your very own bison buck.
Nice.
But now the movie itself is Van Damme and the crew on the inside.
Yeah.
It's not a good movie.
No, but it's fun.
It is a fun. And then I didn't even know some of the shit when I was listening to the interviews, because like, okay, so when they made the movie, they shot it as a PG-13 movie.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden it came back from the MPA as an R rating.
Seriously?
And I think I know why. They said it was because there was a school shooting at the time, but you also remember this is when Mortal Kombat came out too as well. The game.
Yeah.
And the way that everybody was freaking out about video game violence.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So my thing is, I think that's what caused the MPA to just freak the fuck out. And because there's gunplay and everything like that in the movie and stuff like that. And look, everybody will tell you this is more of a G.I. Joe movie than it is a fucking Street Fighter movie.
Not Street Fighter. Good night, Dragonzilla. Thanks for having me.
Take care, guys. Yeah, sorry we're going so late. Almost done here. Got a couple more and we're done. But yeah, no, like it's fun. But like, I guess so. Then they cut the shit out of the violence and they send it back and they got a G rating. I think it was actually a PG. I would imagine, not a G.
Yeah.
And that's a kiss of death, of course. Mm-hmm. So then they cut in some swear words in the fucking dialogue, like, I went through 4 years of ROTC for this shit and stuff like that. They added in just to get the PG-13 or whatever, I guess. Yeah. And I'm just like, whatever. Yeah, this movie, you can tell this is like and the director shot it like a cartoon. He's like, it was meant to be a campy, fun play on the old kung fu movies and stuff like that. And it is what it is. It's almost like you have to see it just to understand.
It's gloriously bad but fun and entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, Raul Julia was the best part. And I think he said he did it for his kids, didn't he?
He did. And sadly, it makes me wonder if this movie didn't kill him, but yeah. I'm not kidding when I say that shit. Because he had stomach surgery just before he started on this, and they put, I guess, and the director says this on his interview. He's like, they pushed all his shooting to the beginning of the schedule for some reason, and little did he know that when he comes on, he just got out of surgery. And so there's like one scene he shot when they had him there when he was that like low energy and just completely fucking out of it. But he's like, he still turned it on. Raul just had all that energy. And then he goes, then what we did is we gave him a break and we pushed all of his shit till the end of the shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So then everything else besides that one scene was shot at the end of the shoot so that he could recover, get some weight. Because that was another problem, is they had did all his measurements and stuff for his costume before he went into surgery. Because for those who don't know, he had stomach cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then he ended up passing away not long after this movie because of complications between that and stuff like that. But so then he went on this regiment and to try and get bulk up, because they fitted him for his costume again when he got on set, and he had lost so much weight that the costume didn't fit him.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was falling off of him, literally falling off of him. So the costume girls are like, well, we can fix it, but it's going to take some time. We got to pad it all up and all this other shit, and we need him to bulk up a little bit. So he did his best as he could, but I wonder if that putting himself through that didn't hurt him. You know what I mean?
Exacerbated it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor
But
Rosalie.
he puts in a performance of almost of a lifetime, and this is quite not his performance of a life. Obviously, that's Gomez Adams, but I mean, he does a good job hamming it up.
He has the best speeches in the movie, so
you got great lines. I mean,
he does. Like, just
he's very well. Not just that. It's like, why don't they see? I'm not the bad guy.
Yeah, I'm not the bad guy. Oh, he's great. He is the best part of the movie. He really is.
I just want to build the perfect soldier for good. No, yeah, he does have the best lines, and he's just so hamming it up, and he's, you know, just so misunderstood. You know, like I love how he plays it. He's just, you know, he's just great. But yeah, so unfortunately with the Van Damme part of it, he might as well not even fucking be there.
Yeah, this was. I mean, you talk about
this is the movie that basically killed his career right here. Yeah.
You talk about his performance in Time Cop, and he does great in that. He's acting and fighting, and you watch him as Guile, and he's just like, what the hell?
And there's so much more to this that I could get into that I'm not going to waste everybody's time since it's so late. But I mean, if you don't already know, go seek out the history of Mortal Kombat in this, and you'll see the reason I think Van Damme did this movie was kind of like he was supposed to. The Mortal Kombat game was supposed to be a Jean-Claude Van Damme game. For those who don't
he was
know.
supposed to be Johnny Cage. So.
Yeah. So I think this was kind of his way of. And the weird thing is the Street Fighter the movie the game. Which is basically Mortal Kombat. Because they literally take the sprites, their or the what do you call them, their pictures basically of the actors, basically as the different
characters.
Their characters, yeah. Anyway, so let's keep moving. But the movie that kind of really helped put Van Damme on the map prior to Time Cop, after Bloodsport, and brought somebody else to the table, more importantly, was a movie that was produced by Sam Raimi, but directed by a little director known as John Woo. Hard Target. From the director of Hard Boiled comes Hard Target.
It's a fun movie.
It's a fun movie. It's a movie that there's about a half a dozen movies with the same premise, but this is fun. It's fun. Like you said, you got Lance Henriksen as the bad guy. Takes place down in Louisiana, so they have an excuse for Van Damme's accent. Yep. And you got Wilford. Wilford Brimley doing one of the fucking deepest fucking
his Louisiana accent.
Louisiana accents you can do. Almost as bad as the guy from The Water Boy.
Scudo.
And no, so the movie is basically these guys who sell you the ultimate hunt, right? The ultimate prey being man. And Lance Henriksen is this entrepreneur who's doing this, and he's hiring homeless people and saying, here you go, here's 10 grand. If you get to the river, you get the money. But they know what they're signing up for in a weird way. So it's like, okay, you know, kind of. But so like it kind of kicks off with this girl who comes to town looking for her estranged father. And of course it leads them straight to this game or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, Hard Target's good. And of course, Van Damme's helping her out, and he's kind of putting 2 and 2 together with her. And I think he's supposed to be homeless too. They don't really necessarily say it, but you don't have no home. He basically is doing
coat and boots.
yeah. But no, it's a John Woo film.
Mm-hmm. Pigeon slow motion.
And probably some of the least obnoxiousness of his John Woo-isms, probably. Because it's well shot. It looks great. The one thing I will forewarn people, you will notice that you're like, oh, why does this look so much softer than the rest of it? Yeah, there's a lot of shots because of all the edits and transitions and shit that Woo does that is not as much of the negative as probably you're used to seeing in a movie. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're seeing like a lot of secondary interpositive footage that was for transitions.
Transitions, yeah.
Yeah. So like, cause he does a lot of the weird transition stuff, but I was surprised how much of the slow-mo footage was actually negative, which means he must have shot it at high speed. So yeah. But no, it's got some cool action in it, cool sequences. And I mean, it's a little unbelievable in some senses, but you know, it's a typical Van Damme. The snake bit, my God. Yeah, and the trap. And
oh, I love when he saves her when she's in the car and like all the guys are coming to get her or whatever, and he's just like walking real slow and slow motion, and he just like comes up and he starts kicking all their asses and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Should they flash your money around like that?
Yeah.
And then of course, and that was Kino Lorber who did a great job, and they had some new features to it. Because I don't even think the old the Blu-ray I have here had anything on it as far as I know.
Do you know, I don't want to stop you because I know we got to get this through, but do you remember the movie The Game? Speaking of which, The Game with like Gary Busey.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that scene where like Gary Busey's sitting at a table telling a story and they're all watching him from the movie?
No, I haven't seen that, but I've seen. I know the movie you're talking about. Yeah.
Well, yeah, in the movie, like Gary Busey's telling the story. It's in the movie. He's like,
it's in the movie. Okay.
Telling a story about when he was a kid or something, and they're all looking at him. And Ice-T confirmed it on his thing. Is like he completely made up the whole damn story. It wasn't even written in the movie, and everybody watching him, that's all their legit reactions because they had no fucking clue where he was going.
I have to rewatch that. I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah, Surviving the Game, where it's like hunting people.
Yeah, Surviving the Game.
Yeah, that's what I love. But
what was the one that had Ray Liotta in it? Is that the same one, or is that a different one?
Escape, isn't it?
No, Escape. Yeah, I was gonna say there was like a handful of them around the same time. They're all basically the same plot.
But that Gary Busey scene is incredible.
And I think there was another one called like Ultimate Prey or something like that. It was basically the same kind of plot too. But the last one I got from Van Damme tonight is probably one of the better Die Hard ripoffs, actually. And funnily enough, I actually have the novelization right here.
Nice.
For Sudden Death.
Sudden Death. It's a good movie.
It's a good one. It's fun. And Powers Booth, man. I mean,
yes, as the bad guy, he's incredible.
Yeah, he's great in it. I mean, he really elevates it, and that's kind of what makes it one of the better Die Hard ripoffs. Not to mention just the action level to it. It has enough of its own thing that doesn't make it so much of a ripoff, but at the same time, you can tell it's in that genre. And I always have this thing when it comes to Die Hard ripoffs that I'll rate them on, instead of giving them stars, I'll give them Die Hards.
Yeah. How would you rate this out of Die Hard? How many Die Hards?
So out of 5 Die Hards, would I rate Sudden Death? Because as a movie itself, I'd probably give it like a 4 or 3 or 3.5 out of 5, right? Or a 6.5, 7 out of 10. But as far as a Die Hard goes, on a Die Hard scale, this is definitely a 4 out of 5 Die Hards. Easily. Maybe 4.5 out of 5 Die Hards. It's close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. It's almost Die Hard with a Vengeance level.
That's good.
That's almost.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's because Powers Booth, you're only as good as your villain, and he plays an excellent villain, so.
Yeah, he's the big part of it. Because otherwise, the rest of the cast, it does miss out on having the great supporting cast like Die Hard does. But no, the transfer looks decent. And I tested all these against the old Blu-ray, and they all looked astronomically better. So if they did much manipulation to him, I didn't notice. I didn't notice any ghost grain or floating grain or whatever you want to call it. There's nice grain structure throughout all these films. Kino, as always, does a great job for the most part. I mean, I have very few times have I complained about their transfers, and that's usually when, 9 times out of 10 they get them straight from the studio, so they don't really have a choice. So
Yeah.
in this case, if Universal just ain't fucking with shit, then good.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that need to learn too. They're some of the worst for a while there too. So yeah, I can recommend all those Van Damme films except for Time Cop. Wait for it to come on sale.
Yeah. I would definitely wait on it. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous from Scream Factory.
Yeah.
I mean,
and what really pissed me off
that's
what'll really piss me off is if like Universal or whoever owns it now, because it says Largo Entertainment on the back. I don't see any other logo, so maybe it is like an indie company that owns it. If it does, maybe it won't get another release, but if it does, that'll piss me off.
Yeah, like if they coming out with their own steelbook or their own release, like they do,
like
Universal or
whoever, yeah,
yeah.
What was the one more recently I was just griping about? I can't even remember now. But anyhow, it's getting late and we've been going long, so.
No, but I mean, you did some great Van Damage tonight. Good picks.
Superman damage.
And yes, Brian Barth, I do hope the accusations against him are not true. But
it sounds more like of a situation. This is just from what I've read so far. I can't speak, and everybody's innocent until proven guilty kind of thing. Sounds almost like he fell for like a honeypot scheme more than anything. And from what I could tell, is it was all girls that were consenting, and this happened in Rome, I think. So I don't even know what the fucking laws are there necessarily. So, and this happened probably like way back. I think it was a couple of years ago. And the other weird thing is I don't know if this is true or not, but I swear somebody said or I read somewhere that one of these girls that he's being accused of whatever with, or that would be a part of this group of girls that were quote unquote trafficked, he's now married to. So, yeah, I was in Romania. Sorry. Thank you. Yeah. Romania. So yeah, I don't even know. To me, it just sounds like it was some high class, high priced hookers, and somebody got busted and they're just naming names of clients. That's my guess. And look, I hate to break y'all's hearts. If you don't think most actors haven't had high-priced hookers,
yeah, I mean,
those kind of things used to come as gifts for signing deals and shit. Like, that's probably what this was.
I mean, and also like, if you don't think that joke about that one movie with I can't remember his name, but like where they pay Megan Fox, like the Saudi prince pays Megan Fox to have sex with her,
right?
That shit happens, people.
Look, if it turns out to be something really skeezy and whatever, I mean, I kind of reserve a little judgment for that. Like, again, I'm only speaking from what I know right now. From the initial reports that came out, to me, that's what it kind of sounds like. Is somebody that was probably like one of the heads of this prostitution ring, high-class hookers, whatever you want to call them, call girls, probably got busted and probably naming names, and Jean-Claude just happens to be a movie star compared to all the, other ones that we don't know because there's some fucking high tootin' flutin' somebody in like either government or wherever that aren't a big name to us. Yeah. Right? This just hit us here because we know who Jean-Claude Van Damme is.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Again, my guess. But that's with the limited knowledge I have.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. We actually had Rook, who contributed nothing to the show tonight.
I'm curious what Steven...
laughs and ridicule, yes.
Well, Steven says, sudden death always felt like there was 10 minutes missing somewhere. I still like it, though. Well, maybe I'll have to read the novel and I can tell you what's missing. And I don't know if I felt that way, but I'm curious to see what made you think that, because then maybe I will. See, because I'm usually pretty good at picking that kind of stuff up. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, this feels like something, because I always bring that up. I'm like, it feels like something's missing here. Because I just brought that up last week on that one movie where we jumped from like, what was it called again? I even forgot the fucking name of it.
What was that movie?
The Charlie Band one. Jesus.
Cribozoid.
Yeah, because fucking like that they're both together, and then all of a sudden the next shot they're in two completely different places. And it's like they lost each other or something like that. It's like, what the fuck? Something happened here. I'm missing. You're like, yeah. And like I backed it up and everything. I'm like, did I not pay attention for a second? No, there wasn't you go this way, you go that way kind of a scene or anything like that. I'm not crazy. That's the obvious one. But I mean, I do notice that shit sometimes. So I'm curious what makes you think that. But yeah, other than maybe there was more bombs than we saw him actually defuse, but I don't remember how many actually blew up. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Rook. Thank you, Tom, for joining me. As always, thank you to everybody in the chat and everybody at home watching and everybody on YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to Tom, Rook, if he still does a channel, me. And as always, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.